What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Sasuke is secretly a girl and likes Naruto Sakura bashing? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto stood on the balcony of Sakura's home. He could still hear the sounds of her New Year's party, but his mind was far from the celebrations. He was thinking of several things. First, was how no one at the party talked willingly to him. They only spoke to him if Sakura, Sasuke, or Hinata included him in the conversations. And the only reason Sakura talks to him is because they are on the same team. She acts as if she is only putting up with him, abiding her time until she is free of him. He hated feeling like no one cared for him. He knew there was the handful of people who did. Iruka-sensei and Kakashi-sensei both cared for him like Hokage looked out for him like a wise grandmother did. And Hinata, who had a crush on him. She really wasn't his type. But even if he did like her back, they weren't allowed to be more than friends. Her father promised her to Neji, even though they're cousins. Naruto listened to the silence of the night. It was peaceful out on the balcony until he heard footsteps. Hopefully they would just walk away, like they always do when they see him. He really didn't feel like talking to anyone. But no such luck. Whoever it was, they were standing right behind him, burning a hole into his head with their eyes. Naruto turned to see Sasuke staring at him with the same blank expression he always wore. "Naruto, are you alright? You seem sad. That's not like you. What do you care? As long as you have everyone falling all over you. You couldn't care if I threw myself off this ledge." Sasuke looked down at his feet. "That's not true. Believe it or not, I do care what happens to you." Naruto scoffed. "Yeah, right. And why would you care about happens to me?" Sasuke walked up right in front of Naruto and looked him in the eye. "Remember our first day in class as junior ninja? Yeah? What about it?" Naruto wasn't sure he liked the way Sasuke was looking at him, but he went along with the topic of conversation. "When you were perched on my desk, glaring at me for something," Sakura said. "Then that boy knocked you over and we accidentally kissed. Do you remember?" "Yeah, I remember. For the longest time after that, I kept replaying the scene in my head. The way it felt to be kissed by you. I know you like girls and all, but I need to say this. Every day since then, I have fallen more and more in love with you. And I love you with all my heart." Naruto went ghost white. "Sasuke. Don't. Please, don't say anything. I know you don't love me back, but it was something I had to say." "Naruto, before I go, can I ask just one favor from you?" What do you want from me?" Naruto felt uneasy about this whole conversation. He liked Sasuke, maybe even loved him. But they could never be together. No one would accept it. And everyone would hate him even more if he the class heartthrob gay. He didn't care that they hated him, he was used to it, but he was afraid of how they might turn on Sasuke if he didn't like girls anymore. "Can I kiss you, for real?" Naruto's heart skipped a beat. "I don't know if that's a good idea. What if someone saw? Since when do you care what people think of you?" "I don't, but I don't want to see how people would turn on you if they thought I turned you gay." "I don't care." Before Naruto could react, Sasuke had grabbed the back of his head and brought their lips together. At first the kiss was rough and forced, then it turned warm and soft. As much as Naruto wanted to fight it, he just couldn't. The way Sasuke was holding him and kissing him, he pushed all thoughts of fighting to the back of his mind and focused on what was happening. The second Sasuke's lips touched his, something deep inside him snapped free and a flood of sensational passion slammed into him like a brick wall. Naruto couldn't believe this was happening. His dream had come true, someone cared about him. No, that was an understatement. Someone loved him, and that someone was who he wanted to love as well. Sasuke nipped and sucked at Naruto's bottom lip, asking for entrance. After a moment of hesitation, Naruto granted him access into his mouth. Sasuke moaned as he explored Naruto's mouth, taking what was offered so willingly to him. It was warm and tasted sweet, like candy. Sasuke was in heaven. Now that he had Naruto in his arms, he never wanted to let him go. "Have you seen Sasuke?" Sakura was starting to worry. If she didn't find Sasuke soon, then all her plans will have been for nothing. Sakura can be devious when it came to getting what she wanted, and what she wanted was Sasuke. The whole point of the party was to get closer to the boy. It had been working up until 20 minutes ago when Sasuke went missing. She looked everywhere for him, but no one seemed to see where he ran off to. She needed to find him within the next half hour. A week ago she overheard two women in town talking about something called the New Year's legend. At first she didn't listen, but the more they talked about it, the more it intrigued her. Flashback. I'm telling you, it's all true. It worked for my parents. It can work for you too, and it's easy. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it could work. It does work. Look, all you have to do is make sure you and the one you love kiss under the full moon at midnight on New Year's and you'll be together forever. Are you sure? I mean, it really works, right? Yes, it works. My parents did it and they're still together and very much in love. Well, alright, I'll try it. End flashback. That was when this plan of Sakura's was formed. All night she stayed at Sasuke's side. Where he went, she went. Up until he said he was going to the bathroom. He excused himself from the group they were sitting with. Sakura watched him walk down the hall and to the right. Then she turned back to the conversation at hand. She must have lost track of time, and now she couldn't find where he went. No one saw where he went or when he went there. Just great. On top of that, Naruto was missing as well. If he was pulling a prank tonight, she'd kill him for it later. But right now she needed to find Sasuke before midnight. Just as Sakura was about to go look in the hall, she heard voices out on the balcony. Thought I turned you gay. I don't care. Sakura recognized the voices as Naruto and Sasuke, but what were they talking about? Who turned who gay? And what did this have to do with Sasuke? Sakura was 100% sure Sasuke was straight. There was no way he was gay. It had to Naruto who was gay. She always knew he'd turn out all wrong. He never had anyone tell him that two males couldn't be together. It was just wrong. At least now Sakura had a way to get rid of Naruto for good. There was no way the village would allow him to stay now. The villagers were against gay couples. Now maybe she and Sasuke can be together without Naruto coming between them all the time. He was always showing up just as Sakura had gotten Sasuke alone. After a moment of silence, she heard a soft moan. Curiosity got the better of her. She walked out onto the balcony, only to freeze in horror. It couldn't be true. There was no way. The sight before her had to be an illusion created by Naruto. That's it. He had to have made an illusion. She couldn't believe that Naruto was kissing Sasuke. It must be a trick. Naruto must have tricked Sasuke into kissing him. Sakura summoned all her courage just to be able to speak. What the hell do you think you're doing? Get the fuck off him, Naruto. She lunged forward and pulled Naruto away from Sasuke. Before either of the boys could think, Sakura punched Naruto across the face. Naruto only looked up at Sakura, then to Sasuke. He looked sad. It wasn't fair. All he ever wanted was to be loved by someone, but Sakura wouldn't let that happen. She looked ready to kill him. 2 tears trickled from his eyes. I told you this would happen. Before anyone could rebuttal, Naruto stood and ran from the balcony. Sasuke made to follow, but was stopped by Sakura putting a hand on his shoulder. Let him go. He shouldn't have kissed you like that. I'll just tell the Hokage what he did. Sasuke slapped her hand away. Let's get a few things straight. 1. I kissed him. 2. You'll tell no one what you saw. And 3. Don't you ever hit Naruto again. With that he ran outdoor after Naruto. Hinata watched everything unfold from a hidden spot by the balcony doors. She felt slightly responsible for everything that's happened. She had been watching Naruto all night, as always. But this time it was for different reasons. While watching the blonde boy, she noticed she wasn't the only one watching him. Sasuke kept an eye on him. His gaze never left Naruto. It gave her an idea. Flashback. When Sasuke came back from the bathroom, she noticed he was looking for Naruto. This was it. She was going to set some pretty big wheels in motion. She liked Naruto, but she was engaged to be married. So, since she couldn't have him, she was going to help him find love. And Sasuke was that love. She softly walked up behind Sasuke. Looking for someone? Sasuke turned to see Hinata walking towards him. I was just looking for Naruto. I wanted to ask him something. Do you mind if I ask what you wanted to ask him? Sasuke was taken aback by Hinata's blunt question. That's a little personal, don't you think? Oh, were you going to ask him out or something? She smiled softly at Sasuke's wide eyes. I know you like him. His shoulders sagged a little. I don't just like him. I love him. Hinata giggled, turned slightly pink, and looked down at her feet. I know, and I think you should tell him. No way. He would reject me. I just know it. How do you know unless you try? But if I don't try, I can't get my heart ripped out and stomped on. I don't think Naruto would do that. If he doesn't love you back, he'll let you down gently. Sasuke sighed softly. Fine, I'll try to tell him when I find him. He's out on the balcony. You were keeping tabs on him? Him and you. Why? I want to help you. You both need someone to love. Thought I'd give you a little push in the right direction. Sasuke smiled. Well, thank you for everything. Hinata smiled back. You're welcome. Now go get your man. End flashback. Naruto ran all the way to his favorite spot in the whole village. It was a small, grassy hill. From this hill you could see the whole village. Tonight was a full moon. It shone beautifully. He loved the full moon. Just as he got comfortable, he felt the presence of another. He knew it was Sasuke, he just didn't want to notice him. The Uchiha walked up to Naruto and sat down next to him. For the longest moment they just sat there in silence. Finally Sasuke turned to Naruto. I'm sorry for what she did. She had no right to hit you. Naruto looked down at his hands. Yes, she did. Sakura loves you and just wants to protect you, that's all. But I don't love her, I love you. Sasuke tried to hold Naruto's hand, but the other boy just pulled away. You can't love me. I'm a guy and so are you. The village wouldn't like it. You're supposed to give them an Uchiha heir. You wouldn't be able to have children if you were with me. Naruto's words angered Sasuke a little. Don't I get a say in who I love? If I can't be with the one I love, then I don't want to have children with some woman I can't even stand. I want to be with you and no one else. But, no, if that's the only reason you won't be with me. It's not. There's more to it than that. Like what? Naruto sighed. You asked me if I remembered the accident in class. Well, do you remember what happened? Of course. I told you I can't stop thinking about it. Well, do you remember what happened after? Do you remember what Sakura and the other girls did to me? No, they beat the hell out of me. What do you think they would do if they found out we were in love? Naruto's last two words rang in Sasuke's head. Naruto loved him too. He smiled the most genuine smile. The smile didn't go unnoticed by Naruto. Why are you smiling? You said, what do you think they would do if they found out we were in love? That means you love me too. Just because it's true doesn't mean it's right. Naruto, look at me, please. Naruto turned his head to look Sasuke in the eye. I love you and you love me. That's all that should matter. No one else. With that, he kissed Naruto. He kissed him so suddenly that it took Naruto a moment to realize what was happening. Sasuke pushed Naruto down to lie on the grass with his body over the other boys. That night both boys gave into the love and passion they held for each other. Sasuke made love to Naruto. It was sweet and slow. The blonde could feel how much the Uchiha loved him. He never wanted to let Sasuke go. But he knew this could only happen once. He knew the others wouldn't leave them to be together. He would have to leave the village tomorrow. But those thoughts could wait until after. Neither one noticed that the second their lips touched, the world saw a new year. The next morning Sasuke woke up on the hill naked and alone. He looked around for Naruto. The blonde was nowhere in sight. Where could he have gone? You would think after last night he would still be there, but he wasn't. Maybe he went back to his apartment. Sasuke decided to go home, take a shower, and go see if Naruto was at his place. Sasuke was now clean, dressed, and in a good mood. He walked towards Naruto's. Memories of last night replayed over and over again in his head. He loved every moment of it. The way Naruto was soft and hard in all the right places. The way Naruto was eager for Sasuke to take him. The way he called out his name as he came for the third time that night. If Sasuke had any doubts about how much he loved Naruto, last night cemented his feelings. There was no going back for him now. He was head over heels in love with Naruto, and he was happy about it. With all the thoughts running in his head he never noticed when he made it to Naruto's, but now he stood in front of the door. He had no idea what to say. Sasuke was nervous. Last night was his first time. He had not clue what to say to a lover the next morning, especially one that disappeared. He decided to sum up his courage. He knocked quietly on the door. No answer. He knocked harder. Still no answer. He was getting a little worried. After knocking a few more times, he got really nervous. Slowly, he pushed the door. It was dark and quiet. Sasuke turned on the light in the front room. There was hardly anything in it. Just a couch, coffee table, and a lamp. Something was off. Way off. He walked into the bedroom. Sasuke couldn't believe what he saw. The bed was stripped, Naruto's clothes were gone, and it looked like he left in a rush. Sasuke ran from the apartment. He had to talk to Tsunade. She was the only one who could help. She could order a search party. Sasuke burst into Tsunade's office. "Hokage, I need to speak to you about Naruto." The Hokage looked up from her desk. So did they. Sasuke looked to where they pointed. Shino, Kiba, and Hinata sat in chairs at the back of the room. Shino had his arms crossed over his chest, like always. Kiba looked pissed, and Hinata looked worried. He looked at the two boys. Something was different. He didn't know just yet, but he would find out later. Right now all he wanted to do was find Naruto. "I thought you two were on a mission. And what do you know about Naruto?" It was Kiba who answered him. "We were. And we know why he left the village." Sasuke looked shocked. "How did you know he was gone?" Kiba got up and walked to stand in front of Sasuke. "When we got back last night we talked to Hinata about the party. When she told us what she did, we went to check on him. He wasn't at his apartment but it looked normal. We assumed he was with you all night." For the first time in the history of the world Sasuke blushed bright red. Like a lobster. Kiba and Hinata both chuckled. "Judging by the color of your face, we guessed right." Sasuke got defensive. He clenched his fisted. "So what if he was with me? What's it to you?" At hearing the anger in his voice, they sobered up. This time Hinata spoke. "We didn't mean anything by it, Sasuke. Yeah, believe it or not, but we're happy he was with you. He's been pinning for you since the day you took off with Orochimaru. For days we tried to get him to eat or sleep or even talk. Nothing worked, until Jiraiya promised to train him and help bring you back." Sasuke's eyes got wide. He spoke in a quiet voice. "He did all that because of me?" For the first time Shino spoke. "No, he did all that for you. He loves you." Sasuke scoffed. "If he loves me then why did he leave?" Kiba looked nervously between his teammates. Both just stared at him. Tsunade was the first to question them. "What happened to Naruto?" Kiba sighed. "First, you both have to promise not to kill us. We didn't tell you because Naruto said he handled it." Sasuke rushed forward with lightning speed. He grabbed Kiba by the front of his shirt. "Just tell us what the hell happened." Shino stood up and walked calmly towards them. He looked Sasuke right in the eye. "If you want us to tell you what happened, I suggest you put my boyfriend down, now." Sasuke looked at Shino in surprise. So that's what was different about the two of them. He dropped Kiba flat on his ass. "Just tell me where he is." Kiba looked up at Sasuke. He was mad about being dropped like that, but he knew Sasuke must be pissed that he couldn't find his lover. "We told you we don't know where he went, but we know why he left." Sasuke's worried expression returned. "He didn't leave because of me, did he?" Hinata put a hand on his shoulder. "Of course not. Like Shino said, he loves you." "Then why did he leave, Hinata? It's not fair. After waiting 6 years to tell him how I feel, he leaves for no reason." Kiba, now back on his feet, looked at Sasuke sadly. "He didn't leave for no reason. Then why?" There was a pleading whine in Sasuke's voice. In a small, almost unheard voice Kiba answered. "He was raped by a shinobi. We don't know who, Naruto never told us." Sasuke's world fell around him. His fox had been hurt. So many emotions running around his head. He was angry, sad, hurt, and scared all at once. He didn't know what to do. When did this happen?" His voice was shaking. All three Junins backed up. Tsunade stood her ground. "I would answer him before he kills you three. It was about 6 months ago. When you went on a mission with Kakashi." Sasuke closed his eyes and clenched his fists. His whole body was shaking from trying to calm himself. "But when we got back he seemed so normal." Tsunade walked around her desk to stand next to Sasuke. She looked at the other three. "You three need to tell Iruka and Kakashi to come see me. Don't tell them why. They'll find out when they get here." She watched the trio leave, then turned back to Sasuke. "Look, Naruto's always been good at hiding his pain. He always put on a smile so the villagers wouldn't see how bad they got to him. He should have told me." Tsunade laughed softly. "You had your own problems. Your family being killed, your older brother being the one that killed them. Him coming after you to kill you, and Orochimaru trying to steal your body. He probably didn't want to burden you anymore." Before either one could say another word, Iruka burst into the room in a panic. Kakashi strolled into the room after him. "What happened to Naruto? Where is he? I thought he was with Sasuke all night. What happened?" Sasuke's sweat dropped. "Does everyone know about last night?" Kakashi walked in front of Iruka and took over the conversation. Let's explore that question, shall we? You were on a hill, in the middle of the night, with Naruto on his knees, begging you to. He ponders for a moment. How did he put it? Oh, yes. Begging you to fuck him harder. I do believe that is the term he used. Everyone, but Sasuke, had sweat dropped. Sasuke had huddled into a ball on the floor with his head between his knees. He rocked back and forth, repeating the same thing. This is not happening. This is not happening. Iruka was the first to recover. Hitaki Kakashi, why on earth would you say something like that? Tsunade held up her hand, asking for silence. We are not here to talk about the boy's life. Sasuke whimpered and tucked his head even farther into his knees. However, we do need to find Naruto before the villagers find out and want his blood. Iruka, Kakashi, you're both in charge of search parties. If, in a month, you still can't find him in the mountains, I want you to check with Gaara in the Sand Village. He and Naruto have become close friends. And bring him back alive. You may all go. Sasuke looked at her questioningly. Why in a month? Why not go now? Tsunade smiled. Because, he knows we know him. He'll hide out somewhere near the village, then go to safety. A month. It had taken him a whole month to get here. He didn't remember it taking this long last time he made the trip. Then again, that was 6 years ago and he hadn't been feeling good for about a week. He didn't know what was wrong. He just woke up a few days ago throwing up. Naruto could see the little house now. Just a little while longer and he would be there. He would be safe from Konoha. He never wanted to go back. Not even for Sasuke. Naruto loved him, but something told him that Sasuke could never love him back. That he was just a tool to be used and thrown away. Naruto knocked on the door. After a moment, the door was opened by a pretty brown-haired woman. She looked at him oddly. Yes? May I help you? Naruto smiled. Geez, Tsunami, I didn't think 6 years had changed me all that much. It's me, Naruto. After a moment, she smiled broadly and hugged him close. Oh, gods. Naruto, you've grown so much. I can't believe how big you've gotten. You look wonderful. Thanks, Tsunami, but I kinda need to breathe. She backed up and giggled. Sorry. Come in, come in. Inari will be pleased to see you. Since his grandfather died, he hasn't been in a good mood. Maybe you could change that. I'll see what I can do. If you don't mind me asking, how did Tazuna die? She bowed her head. Heart attack. The doctor said he worked himself to death. I'm sorry. It's all right. It happened 4 years ago. So, how long will you be staying? I don't know. I guess as long as the inn will let me. Nonsense, you'll stay with us. Inari now sleeps in his grandfather's room. I'm sure he won't mind letting you sleep in his old room. Just then the back door opened and Inari walked into the room. Hey, Mom, who's this? Man, I guess 6 years really has changed me. Inari squinted his eyes for only a second before they popped open wide with excitement. Naruto? Is that you? Naruto chuckled. Yup, it's me. Inari pounced on Naruto, knocking them both to the ground, laughing all the while. Naruto, you've changed a lot. So have you, kid. You've gotten bigger. Quote, I'm 14 now, I hope I'm bigger. At that very moment, Naruto's stomach decided to do a flip. He felt nauseous again. Naruto pushed Inari off of him and curled into a ball. Inari looked at his mother, then back at Naruto. Hey, are you okay? I didn't mean to hurt you. Naruto opened one eye to look at he kid. You didn't do it. I just haven't been feeling good lately. Tsunami looked worried. Naruto, if you're sick, you should go to the doctors. Naruto scoffed. No doctor in their right mind would help me. This isn't Konoha, people don't hate you here. The doctors are really nice here. If you want, I could get you an appointment for this afternoon. Naruto thought about what she said. It did make sense. No one here knew about the Kyuubi. And they sure as hell didn't know he housed the Kyuubi inside him. Okay, I'll go, but you have to come with me. I don't want to alone. Tsunami smiled softly. Of course I'll go with you. 3 hours later, Tsunami and Naruto sat in the doctor's office. They were stunned at what Dr. Toshi had just told them. Naruto looked up at the old doctor. It's not true. That can't be true. But it is. I don't know how, but it's true. You're pregnant. Tsunami never took her eyes off Naruto. Naruto, do you have any idea how this could happen? Naruto grinned evilly at the woman. You of all people should know what happens when a baby is made. Tsunami sweat dropped. That's not what I meant, you little pervert. I mean, you're a guy, you shouldn't be able to bear children. Naruto's brows knitted together as he thought about it. There was only one answer. The Kyuubi. On the other side of the room, Neji was watching a very drunk Naruto dance. Neji always loved to watch the Bond move his hips, swaying to the music. He loved the way Naruto would throw his hands in the air and shake his ass. At one point in his dance he had grabbed an equally drunk Shikamaru and started grinding his ass into the boy's lap. Shikamaru didn't seem to mind though, in fact, it looked like they were dry humping. Neji decided to put an end to the dancing. He walked onto the dance floor and grabbed Naruto's hand. Naruto only latched onto Neji's back. He clung to the other boy for dear life. Neji could see Naruto grinning that stupid grin that seemed to make him get very hard every time he saw it. Neji, do you think Sasuke would ever like me? That question was like a slap to Neji's pride. Why would you care if he likes you or not? I wish he was gay so I'd know if I had a chance with him. Ya know, one time on a mission we stopped some lake and me and him went swimming. I got to see him naked for the first time ever. He looked so hot then, I just wanted to jump him and fuck his brains out. But sadly I don't know if he'd like that. To be honest, I don't know if he likes to fuck girls, or fuck guys, or fuck a dog. But I wish I knew. Neji rolled his eyes. Naruto, you're drunk. Neji pried Naruto off his back and set him in a chair. Neji looked up to see Sakura walking over to them. She held out 2 glasses of sake. Here, Ino asked me to bring these over here. Something about being a good host. Thanks. She walked away, grumbling about being no one's servant girl. Neji turned back to Naruto and handed him one of the glasses. Here, drink this just to make Ino happy. If we don't drink it now, she'll keep bugging us till we do. Naruto looked at the glass. Sake, he drank it all in on gulp. Yum yum yum. Naruto was grinning again. You're easy to please. Then he swallowed all of his drink. It tasted different, like there was something else other than sake in the cup. He just assumed Ino put vodka in it to make it stronger. After an hour, Naruto went back to the dance floor and resumed dancing with Shikamaru. Neji's head was spinning. He didn't know why but all of a sudden he just had to have Naruto. Just watching him grind on Shikamaru was giving Neji the hardest erection he's ever had in his whole life. Once more he went to the dance floor and pulled the blonde off Shikamaru. But instead of bringing him to a chair, he dragged him off to a room. Kiba and Shino were awakened by the bed moving, then the soft sound of someone wrenching their guts out. Kiba was the first out of bed. Shino only sat up. He watched Kiba walk into the bathroom where Naruto was throwing up. He flopped back down on the bed. I never want to have kids. Kiba walked into the bathroom in time to see Naruto lean over the toilet and throw up before sitting back on his heels. Naruto looked up at Kiba. Hey, man, hey, how are you feeling? Naruto made a face. Oh, just peachy. I love puking every morning. Kiba flinched slightly at the tone of the other boy's voice. Sorry, dumb question. Ya think? Look, I'll go get you some crackers from the kitchen. Thanks, but I think I can handle walking to the kitchen myself. Besides, I'm hungry now. Both boys laughed. I better go get Shino. He probably went back to bed. He started walking out of the room but only made it 2 steps before Naruto clamped onto his left arm. Then don't wake him up. Tsunami can make him something to eat when he gets up. Kiba hesitated for a second. Are you sure? Naruto smiled. Definitely. He needs to sleep. Kiba thought about it for a second, and then smiled back. Okay, sure. Tsunami looked up as Naruto and Kiba walked in the kitchen and sat at the table. She turned to them and smiled. So, Naruto, what concoction am I making this morning? He scratched his head as he thought about it. He smiled and said, how about a sandwich with peanut butter, chips, pickles, and mustard on whole wheat bread? The 2 other occupants in the room just looked at him strangely before busting up laughing. Naruto pouted. What's so funny? Once Tsunami stopped laughing she answered him. It's not that it's funny, it's just so odd it's funny. Naruto pouted more. It's not my fault. The baby wants it, not me. Kiba chuckled once more. You're gonna have an odd kid on your hands. Then again, you're an odd kid yourself. Naruto started to frown and then he started crying. Kiba and Tsunami were alarmed. Kiba started freaking out and yelling. What did I say? You're right. Both Kiba and Tsunami were now confused. Huh? What are you talking about, Naruto? I'm just a kid. How can I raise a kid if I am a kid? Then, he promptly burst out in tears again. Kiba wrapped his arms around the crying boy. It's okay. You're not going to do this alone. You have friends who will help you, no matter what. Naruto's crying turned to sobs. Are really? Tsunami walked up behind Naruto and hugged him while Kiba was still hugging him. Of course we will. I'm not kicking you out or anything. You'll stay here in Inari and I will help you out in any way you need it. Naruto's sobbing ceased. He smiled hopefully. Really? You'll teach me everything about how to take care of a kid? Tsunami smiled softly. Of course I will. Now, we have to get you to your doctor's appointment on time for once, I hope. Kiba looked at Tsunami. I can take him if you want? She looked at him oddly. Aren't you and Shino leaving today? Yeah, but he's not even awake yet. And I don't think I want to be around him right now. Now it was Naruto's turn to look at him oddly. Why do you say that? This morning when we heard you throwing up, he said he didn't want to have kids. But, I want kids. I can't stay with someone who doesn't want what I want. It's hard, but I can't stay with someone who doesn't want what I want forever. Even if I love him. Kiba sounded so sad that Naruto wanted to march into the bedroom and punch Shino in the mouth. How could Shino do this? Didn't he love Kiba at all? Well, Naruto, I'll just have to make this sandwich of yours to go so you can get to the doctor's office on time. Shino opened his eyes slowly. First thing he noticed was how quiet it was. Second was that Kiba was gone. It was strange, Kiba was always there when he woke up. Where could he be? Shino decided to look in the kitchen for his missing lover. Shino looked around the small kitchen only to see the owners of the house sitting at the table. Neither of them looked up at him. Where's Kiba? We have to get going. He took Naruto to his doctor's appointment. Why did he do that? He knows there are people waiting to hear from us. Tsunami and Inari both were still not looking at him. Inari, why don't you go over to Shin's house for a little while? I want to talk to Shino alone. Inari looked between the two, then nodded his and silently walked out the door. Tsunami finally looked up at Shino. Have a seat, young man. Shino looked at the woman as if she had a second head. I'm going to find my boyfriend so we can go home. He started walking towards the door. I don't think he wants to see you right now. Shino halted as he reached for the door handle. Slowly, he turned to face Tsunami. What do you mean he doesn't want to see me right now? Sit down and I'll tell you. Shino watched the woman drink her tea. Fine. He walked back to the table and sat down. Now, what were you talking about? Tsunami lifted her eyes from her cup and looked into his eyes. He heard you this morning when you said you don't want children. So, he wants children. He said he's not sure he can stay with someone who doesn't want what he wants. Even if he loves you. Shino narrowed his eyes at her. That's not true. Kiba wouldn't leave me over something like this. What do you mean something like this? You make it sound like it's no big deal. That's just it, it is a big deal. It's a huge deal. Males who bear children only have a 50% chance of living through the birth. You can't be mad at me for not wanting to put Kiba in a situation like that, and I refuse to feel guilty about it. Her eyes went wide. Well, there's no need to get testy. I didn't know that. Tsunami closed her eyes for a second to control her anger. Look, I don't think it really matters what you want. Kiba's going to have children with or without you. He wants kids and he will leave you if you can't give him what he wants. It's better to be by his side during something like that than to lose him. I guess you're right. I'll talk to him about it. Just then a thought struck Tsunami. Is it going to be that dangerous for Naruto? Probably not. He has the Kyuubi to heal him. Tsunami looked down at her hands. I hope you're right about that. I don't think Inari and I could handle having someone else we love taken away. Especially Inari. He really looks up to Naruto, just like he looked up to his grandfather, before he died. Shino looked at the woman who was on the verge of tears. I'm sure Naruto will be fine. He wouldn't do anything to jeopardize his baby. Tsunami smiled softly. I'm sure you're right. I'm just being a worried mother. Naruto was wearing one of those stupid hospital gowns he always hated. Every time he turned around, Kiba would catcall just to watch the blonde turn pink and throw one of his world-famous tantrums. Naruto had finally had enough and launched himself at the other boy. Just as the doctor walked into the room, his eyes went wide with shock. You know, I could come back if you want me to. Naruto's whole face and neck turned blood red with embarrassment. What are you talking about? There's nothing going on. Dr. Toshi raised an eyebrow. Then why are you sitting on his lap? But, I wasn't, and he was. Arg? I don't want to explain this to you. Both Dr. Toshi and Kiba chuckled at the pregnant boy's antics. Why don't we start the exam now? Okay. Oh, by the way, this is Kiba. This time both eyebrows arched. Is he the other father? Kiba and Naruto stared at the doctor. No, no, I'm not the father. I'm just a friend. Both boys noted the sad look on the doctor's face. Oh, Naruto looked at you won't ever meet him. He's never going to come looking for me. Kiba frowned at the blonde. Naruto. No, I don't want to hear anything about him. Let's just get this over with. Kiba looked at Dr. Toshi, who just shook his head and began the examination. Kiba and Naruto walked home in silence. Kiba kept glancing at the other boy. He was worried about him. The doctor had said Naruto was doing okay, but was still in danger of hurting himself and the baby. He had said Naruto's chakra levels were a little on the low side. Naruto, I think it would be best for the baby if you came back to Konoha with me and Shino. You need more help than Inari and Tsunami could give you. They don't know anything about chakra. You need the Hokage's help. Please come back. Sasuke won't ever have to know you're there. I promise no one will know. Please come with us. Naruto had his arms folded over his chest. He looked down at the ground. I'll think about it. I'm gonna go to the river. Could you tell the others I'll be back soon? Sure, I'll tell them. Thanks. Naruto sat by the crystal blue river. He had no idea what to do. He wasn't sure he could face Sasuke again. But Kiba did say he wouldn't tell anyone he was back just yet. Plus, if he didn't go back and get help from Tsunade, then his child would die along with him. There was only one person who could tell him how serious the situation was. And that person was Kyuubi. Naruto focused on the demon inside him. He closed his eyes and envisioned the caged fox. Kyuubi, you awake? What do you want, kid? Geez, what crawled up your ass and died? You don't need to be so mean. Yes, I do. This is the first time you've spoken to me in half a year. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's just that I've had a lot on my mind. Ha, you think I don't know that? I'm in your head. Look, I don't want to argue with you. I just want to know what you think about this whole thing. You heard the doctor, right? Yes, I did. So, what do you think I should do? Go back to the village. Tsunade can help you. You need more chakra than your body has. Why can't I just use your chakra? Because mine is already being used. I have to make sure your body stays the way it is so you can carry the baby. And I'm still trying to make a birth canal for you. But I don't want to go back. Sasuke is there, and he's probably pissed at me. No, he's worried about you. He wasn't lying when he said he loves you. I know, but he shouldn't love me. And why not? The villagers wouldn't like it. They would hate him and our child if I were to go back and be with him. Kit, no, I'll go back. And I'll even talk to Sasuke, but I'll tell him I don't love him. That way he won't lose the villagers' respect. Kit, I don't think he cares for the villagers' respect. He loves you more than that. He won't give up on you. He will if I get with Neji. That bastard who hurt you. I don't think so. I won't allow you to do that. He'll hurt your baby. No, he wouldn't. If he loves me like he said he does, then he'll love this baby too because it's a part of me. I don't think you should do this. Well, I had to do something. Yes, go back to Sasuke. Give him a chance. If he wants to marry you, then why don't you marry him? Loving someone isn't against the law in Konoha. Even gay marriage isn't against the law, it's just frowned upon. I know, but they would hurt my baby like they hurt me. There's always going to be people with hate, but as long as your friends love and protect your baby, like you would, then I don't see how the villagers could hurt it. I guess you're right. My friends have helped me out a lot when the villagers bothered me. Of course I'm right. I've been alive longer than you. I know things. So, what are you going to do? I'm going to go back to the village, and Sasuke. I'm going to try and not let the villagers get to me. Good. Now, you might want to go tell the others about your little plan. And don't you dare ever ignore me again. Got it? Yes, ma'am. Naruto walked into the small living room. There sat Tsunami, Inari, Shin, Kiba and Shino. Kiba stood up and walked over to him. Are you okay? Naruto gave his signature smile. Of course I'm okay. Shino looked up. Have you decided on what you're going to do? Naruto looked at Shino, then back to Kiba. So you told them? Kiba chuckled nervously and responded with a, yeah, sorry. It's okay. I've thought about a lot about what to do. I even asked the Kyuubi what she thinks I should do. He walked over to the couch and sat down. This is what I've decided to do. I'm going to go back to the village with Shino and Kiba. I'm going to talk to Sasuke, and see if he will take me back. I've made a terrible mistake by coming here. He must hate me so much for being weak and running away like that. Kiba smiled softly. His eyes glowed with mirth. Trust me, he's not mad, he's worried about you. He thought he was the reason you left was because of something Neji said. At the mention of Neji's name, Naruto went stiff. What did Neji say? I don't think I should say it with them in the room. Kiba motioned to the other 3 occupants in the room. He had a smile plastered on his face from the memory of Neji and Sasuke's argument in the Hogake's office almost 3 months ago. Naruto hung his head. He couldn't believe Neji had told Sasuke and the others about that night. Now Sasuke wouldn't want him for sure. So, he told you what he did? He told you everything that happened at Ino's party? Kiba's eyes went wide with realization. That was him? He was the one that raped you? Naruto looked up at Kiba. His eyes were blazing with anger. Yes, but, didn't you already know that? You said he told you. No, he didn't say anything about that night. He was talking about you and Sasuke. Oh God. Shino looked at Kiba. Silently they agreed on a course of action. Shino turned to Naruto. Why don't you go to sleep? You need your rest. It's a long way to the village hidden in the sand. Naruto looked at Shino in curiosity. Why are we going there? The others are waiting there for us. Oh, come on, let's head to bed. Kiba, Shino, and Naruto got up to leave. Once they were gone, Tsunami turned to Inari and Shin. What do you guys think we should do? Inari looked at his mother. About what? I promised Naruto I would help him, and I'm not going back on that promise. So what do you want to do about it? Tsunami thought about it for a moment. I know this isn't going to be easy, but I would like to go with him. What about my school? You get out in a few months. You and Shin could stay here then join me in Konoha. Inari and Shin looked at each other for a moment. Shin turned to Tsunami. What about me? I don't want to be separated from Inari. Tsunami smiled. I was talking about you too. I know your parents are dead, and I know how much you care for my son, so, I would like it very much if you would come with us. Both Inari and Shin's face lit up with excitement. Then, yes, we will move. We'll do anything you want as long as we aren't separated from each other. Tsunami laughed at their happiness. The next morning the boys were packing up their stuff. Tsunami watched them quietly. She had yet to tell them of what she had planned. She grabbed her bag and met them at the door. All 3 boys gave her an odd look. She smiled softly. I told you I was going to help you. Just because you're leaving doesn't mean I can't come with you and keep my promise. Naruto looked like he was about to cry. What about Inari and your job? I talked to my boss yesterday. And Inari and Shin are going to stay here until school is over in May. Then they are going to come to the village. All Naruto could do was fling himself into her open arms and cry. Shino and Kiba looked amused. Well, as amused as a guy like Shino could look. Alright then, shall we? Tsunami was smiling. She was so happy Naruto didn't try to fight her. Thanks, Tsunami, for everything you've done, and are doing, for me. You're welcome, Naruto, you've been like a son to me these past few months. They said their goodbyes to Inari and Shino. It had been a week since they left the sand village. Gaara was told they would be waiting for some friend of theirs who were on a mission. Gaara watched each person sitting around the campfire. He was trying to see who was a threat and who could be trusted. So far he can trust Iruka, Hinata, Kakashi, and unfortunately, Sasuke. He didn't want to trust Sasuke, but he had no choice. Naruto was his friend, and if Naruto trusted him, then so would he. He didn't trust Jiraiya only because the man kept chasing his sister around the camp. He was surprised Temari hadn't killed Jiraiya yet. Then again deep down she probably loved the attention he gave her. There was something about Neji he didn't like. Gaara couldn't figure out what it was, he just knew that his gut said not to trust him. The way Neji would always be talking about Naruto and throwing glares at Sasuke and told him something had happened, he just didn't know what. Kakashi and Jiraiya left for watch, Hinata and Temari were next on watch so they were sleeping, and Iruka and Neji were talking about the fastest route back to the village. That left Gaara and Sasuke by themselves. Sasuke, may I have a word with you? Sasuke looked up from the fire. About what? Naruto. That sparked the boys' interest. Alright, why don't we take a walk? Fine. Sasuke and Gaara walked for about 5 minutes in silence. They had decided to sit in a clearing in the woods. So, Gaara, what did you want to know about Naruto? I know there's something he's not telling me. For a long time now his letters have been vague, they don't say much other than training and missions. He used to tell me everything. Sasuke's brows knitted together. Like what? He told of his crush on you, Jiraiya's perversions, and Kakashi and Iruka's relationship. Gaara's eyes never left the ground. It's unnerving to think he doesn't trust me anymore. How long has it been since the letters change? Gaara thought about it for a moment. Almost 10 months. Sasuke's eye twitched slightly and he said calmly. I was afraid of that. If Gaara had eyebrows they would be touching right now. Why? What happened? I didn't know about this until after Naruto went missing, he was raped. Gaara's chest felt like it was going to explode. He couldn't believe Naruto hadn't told him of this. Calming himself, he steadied his voice and said, why didn't Naruto tell me? Naruto knows how protective you are of him. For some reason he won't tell anyone who did it. If I find out who it is, they will die. Gaara narrowed his eyes. You really love him, don't you? Sasuke was surprised that the other would ask in such a way, but he responded anyways, yes, I really do. But it doesn't matter because somehow I ended up hurting him. They hear a soft voice from behind them. You never hurt me. Both turned to see an orange blob standing right behind them. Their eyes went wide. Sasuke was the first to recover. Naruto. Before the boy could reply, Sasuke had stood up and swept him into a tight hug. Gaara noticed 3 other people standing behind Naruto. One was waving at him to follow them. He did as he was asked, leaving the 2 lovers alone. After a moment or two, Sasuke pulled back from the hug and looked Naruto over from head to foot. His eyes lingered on the blonde's bulging midsection. His hands caressed the oversized stomach. To him, this was solidifying the pregnancy. Now it felt real. He looked into Naruto's eyes and noticed the boy was a little uncomfortable with him touching his belly. Sorry. For what? You probably don't want me touching you. He pulled his hands away from the other boy. Naruto smiled at Sasuke. I don't mind you touching me. In fact, I want you to touch me. He grabbed the black-haired boy's hands and brought them back to his belly. He kept his hands over Sasuke's. Feel right here. He put his hands on the left side. Sasuke's eyes went wide. He pulled his hands back as fast as he could. Was that the baby? Naruto chuckled as Sasuke's shocked voice. Yup, that was our baby. Sasuke put his hands back in the same spot. He felt the flutter against his palm. My god. Sasuke smiled. It was bigger than Naruto's smile. He moved his hands up the boy's body, never breaking the contact. His hands slid over the hated orange jacket that was almost too small for the oversized belly. They moved up to cup Naruto's face in his hands. He leaned in slowly so if Naruto didn't want to be kissed he could pull back in time. Naruto never budged. Once Sasuke's lips met Naruto's, both boys melted. It was soft and sweet, just like their first kiss. Sasuke ended the kiss and looked into Naruto's eye. I don't ever want you to leave again. I'd die without you. He leaned his forehead against the blonde's. I love you. Naruto choked back tears as he spoke. I love you, too. He could feel Sasuke shuddering in their hug and Naruto looked at his face. He could see tears running down Sasuke's cheeks. He reached up and brushed them away. What is it, Sasuke? I can't believe I finally got to hear you say those words. Naruto smiled. Believe it, Neji had been watching Naruto and Sasuke the whole time. He hated that fact that he could not only see the love they had for each other, but he could also feel it radiating from them. They were now only a day away from the village. Neji had been angry, sad, and hurt all at once at the thought of Naruto never loving him the way he loves him. Every time he tried to talk to Naruto someone would be nearby, making it hard for him to tell Naruto how much he loved and desired him. Most of the time it was Sasuke or Gaara. For some reason ever since the Chunin exams, the redhead had always had Neji's respect. Neji knew Gaara was a strong fighter. He had to admit that without his Byakugan Rock Lee would have been able to beat him numerous times. The fact that Gaara beat Rock Lee without ever touching him was amazing. But that doesn't mean Neji was ever going to like that bastard. It was mostly Gaara's fault that Neji could never get Naruto alone. Neji still held onto the hope that if he lays his heart in Naruto's hands that his love will be returned. And that they could get rid of the Uchiha baby and be together forever. But Gaara kept a very close eye on the blonde. It was unnerving. The fire was blazing brilliantly. Everyone was gathered around it. They were only a day away from the village so They didn't bother with guard shifts. Sasuke, Naruto, why don't you two join in our conversation instead of talking alone? Both boys looked up into the scolding face of Iruka. Naruto smiled brightly and Sasuke only HN'd in response. Sorry Iruka-sensei, we were talking about the baby. Iruka smiled. So were we. Naruto turned pink and said, oh. Sasuke smirked. Tsunami giggled at the boys' reactions. Naruto wouldn't let his doctor tell him if he was having a boy or girl, and he didn't want to know if it was more than one. He always said Sasuke wasn't coming, but he still didn't want to know unless he was there. Sasuke turned to look Naruto in the eye only to see him staring at the ground. Naruto, why didn't you think I would want to find you? Naruto winced at the harsh tone Sasuke spoke in. He mumbled something. I didn't understand a word of that. Naruto sighed and looked up at Sasuke. I thought I was just a one-night stand to you, even if you did love me. You would still want me gone so you could marry Sakura and have children with her. I didn't think you wanted me around, getting in the way of you having kids. His Sharingan showed for a millisecond before disappearing again. What the hell do I have to do to prove to you that you are the only person I will ever touch like that? That you are the only one I will spend the rest of my life with, whether we have children or not. Naruto was on the verge of tears. I know that now. But I don't know, before I couldn't imagine you'd want me. Something in the back of my mind keeps telling me all you want is an easy lay, that I'm not important to you. I know it's not true, but there's still a little voice in the back of my mind telling me you never loved me. Sasuke's face softened as he took Naruto into his arms to calm the almost frantic boy. One day I will find a way to make that voice shut the fuck up. It's wrong. You were never an easy lay. A small smile appeared on the stoic boy's face, but not one of malice. It was a soft, almost sweet smile, well, as sweet as an Uchiha could get. If you recall, I had to chase all the way to the hill. And even then you still, for some odd reason, kept trying to tell me to go to Sakura and not you. But you never really did realize, if I wanted an easy lay, I would have gone to one of those annoy people always following me around. And yes, some guys followed me, when they thought no one was looking. Naruto buried his face in Sasuke's chest. I'm sorry. Sasuke gave an exasperated sigh. Now what are you sorry for? You didn't do anything wrong other than run off and break my heart. The tears broke loose. Naruto's body was shaking as he cried against Sasuke's chest. All the males looked worried as three women looked about ready to murder Sasuke. Hey, why are you crying? I was only joking. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that rudely. I'm sorry. Please stop crying. Naruto's red eyes looked into Sasuke's black ones to see if he meant what he said. Satisfied with what he say, Naruto slowly stopped crying. His face turned into a mock scold. Well, how the hell was I supposed to know you were joking? I didn't even know you could joke. Sasuke smiled before leaning in and kissing Naruto passionately on the lips. They pulled apart as Tsunami, Hinata, and Temari all ed at the sight. Kiba and Kakashi gave wolf howls. Iruka attempted to stop Kakashi from making an inappropriate comment. Jiraiya make a puking noise. Gaara and Shino turned away to try and give them more privacy than they had. And Neji looked like he wanted to kill something, namely Sasuke. His fists were shaking with fury. How dare the Uchiha sweet-talk Naruto? He had no right. Neji's behavior did not go unnoticed by Naruto, who began squirming under the hateful glares the other boy was giving them. Sasuke noticed Naruto's discomfort. His brows knitted together slightly. Hey, what's wrong? You okay? Yeah, I'm just gonna go for a walk. Clear my head. I'll go with you. I wanted to ask you something anyways. Now is as good a time as ever. Naruto only nodded his head and stood up. Neji watched as Sasuke followed Naruto into the woods. He looked around to make sure no one was looking before he raced off after the couple. Neji watched from a faraway tree, concealing his chakra. Sasuke was standing behind Naruto with his arms around the pregnant boy's midsection. Naruto's head was resting on the other boy's right shoulder. Both had their eyes closed, taking in a moment of peace. Naruto was thinking about his baby and the man he loved. No matter what happened, he knew Sasuke would be there to protect their baby. I think you should tell him about that Neji boy, Kit. Tell who? Your mate, Sasuke. Why would I tell him? He would only ever try to murder Neji and I don't want that to happen. It's not Neji's fault. You know? You're right, it's not his fault. It's yours for not listening to me. I told you that pink-haired floozy put something in both your drinks, but would you listen to me? No, you were too mad to listen. I hope you learned your lesson. Kid, sometimes I really wish I could smack you. And excuse me, but it is your fault I was mad. You shouldn't have called me names. I called you a moron because you were a one. And that's not even what you were mad about. You were mad because I told you to tell Sasuke how you felt about him, but you thought I was out of line. You're pathetic when it comes to that boy. You're going to make me mad again. I don't want to fight about this. I know, kid, but all I'm saying is, you should tell Sasuke about what happened. Tell him about the drugs and the drinks and the rape. To be honest, I'm not sure it was rape. How is it not rape? Neji forced himself on you. He pushed you up onto the wall and raped you. You can't defend him, but even you said there was an aphrodisiac in his drink. He didn't know what he was doing. You said, no. Even Orochimaru would have stopped, no matter how horny he was. That boy heard you clearly. Say, no, yet he still continued. He didn't even have the decency to prepare you first, he forced himself inside you. Ripping you in two. I don't need the reminder. I can't tell Sasuke. I'm sorry, but I don't think he would understand the way I feel about this whole thing. Kid, you're trying my nerves, but I will back off for now. Stress isn't good for your baby. Thank you. Naruto looked up into Sasuke's face. It looked like he was deep in thought. Naruto was a little worried about what he was thinking. Sasuke, you okay? Sasuke shook his head, trying to get rid of his fear. Now was the time. He needed to ask, before he lost his nerve. I'm fine, Naruto. I have something I wanted to ask you. Naruto saw the worry in the Uchiha's eyes. It was making Naruto worried as well. He was afraid Sasuke was changing his mind about being with him. That he would rather have a child with a woman. But his fear was quickly turned into shock as he watched the other boy go down on one knee. Naruto, you know I love you more than anything, and I want the chance to spend the rest of my life making sure you and our baby feel that love. I'm asking, not as the last Uchiha, but as just Sasuke, to marry me. Will you? Will you marry me? Will you let me love you for the rest of our lives? All Naruto could do was stare at Sasuke. His mind was reeling. All thoughts were screaming to say, yes, but his voice just wouldn't say the words. So, instead he just kneeled in front of him and hugged him fiercely. He started sobbing softly into the crook of Sasuke's neck. He heard the boy chuckle softly. Can I take this as a yes? Naruto nodded enthusiastically. Sasuke leaned in as kissed the blonde. Without Naruto knowing, Sasuke slipped a ring onto Naruto's left ring finger. When they pulled away, Naruto looked down at his hand. The ring was silver and had a rose etched into the top of it. Naruto thought it was the most gorgeous ring he had ever seen. He looked into Sasuke's black eyes. I love you so much, Sasuke. Then he launched himself into the Uchiha's open arms. Sasuke smiled lovingly at Naruto. I love you, too. Neji was more than angry now. He was downright pissed. How dare that boy propose to his Naruto? The Uchiha will pay for this. He hoped Sakura wouldn't fail him. He needed Naruto and he would do anything to get him. The women crowded around Naruto and Sasuke to see the ring. The three of them were chatting excitedly. They were asking questions about the ring, the wedding, and honeymoon, and the rest of their lives. Sasuke held up his hand, silently asking them to stop talking. First off, the ring was my mother's. It was promise ring my father gave her when they were dating. Just after their deaths. I found it in my mother's jewelry box with a note addressed to me. In the note, my mother asked me to propose to the one I loved the most with the ring, and I have done that only moments ago. Which means, we have not discussed the details of the wedding, honeymoon, or the rest of our lives. Give us time to talk about that later. Naruto looked at Sasuke like he had grown an extra head. It was your mother's? Sasuke nodded his head slowly. Next thing he knew, Naruto was kissing him passionately. AWWWWs erupted all around them. They pulled away. Naruto blushed and buried his head in Sasuke's chest. He could feel the others' chest rumble with laughter. The gates of Konoha were in sight. Everyone was happy to see the village. They were tired of walking. At some points Sasuke had to carry Naruto because too tired to keep walking. All of a sudden there were 3 men standing before them. Kakashi noted the way they were dressed. Each wore a Konoha military police force suit. This can't be good. Sasuke set Naruto down behind him, pulled out a kunai, and got into a ready stance. The others did the same, all pulling out their weapon of choice. The first man stepped forward. He seemed to be the leader. "Stand down. We have a warrant for arrest." Kakashi stood in front of Sasuke, shielding him from view. They were trying to hide Naruto's stomach. Gaara dug into his pack and pulled out a white cage robe. "Naruto, put this on." Naruto blinked a few times. "But, just do it, Naruto." "Okay, Sasuke, if you say so." Sasuke looked back at the men. "And who might you be arresting?" "That thing you're trying to hide. We are here to arrest Naruto Uzumaki. Hand him over, now." Sasuke narrowed his eyes dangerously. "Like hell I'm letting you take my fiancé anywhere." The 3 men looked stunned for a moment before the leader spoke once more. "All the more reason to get him away from you faster." They stepped forward, ready to cuff the blonde. Sasuke and Gaara were about to attack, when they were stopped by Kakashi. "Let them do their jobs. Maybe we will find out what's going on faster if we comply." "But, no, but, Sasuke. Let them take Naruto." Sasuke narrowed his eyes once more. He stared intently at the leader. "If you hurt him in any way, you will deal with Gaara and I, got it?" The man just snorted and walked past him, straight to Naruto. He smirked down at the frightened boy. The other 2 each grabbed one of his arms. "Naruto Uzumaki, you are hereby arrested for crimes against Konoha, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided." They started pulling Naruto towards the village. Sasuke turned to Kakashi. What the hell was he talking about? What did Naruto do to Sakura and I that landed him in jail? The copy ninja shook his head. "I have no idea, but I think it's best we go see the Hokage. She'll know what's going on." Tsunade's office door burst open. A flood of people came running in, all yelling at her to tell them why Naruto was arrested on false charges. She held up a hand to silence them. "If you are not Kakashi, Iruka, or Sasuke, I suggest you leave my office now. I will only speak to those 3 people. The rest of you, out now." They all started walking to the door. Sasuke grabbed Tsunami and Gaara. "They stay." Naruto would want them to hear this. Tsunade eyed the woman. "Who's she?" "I'm Tsunami. My father built the Great Naruto Bridge a few years back. I believe escorting him home was Naruto's first major mission." Tsunade stared at her for a second, not believing her words. She turned to Sasuke. "The kid's got a bridge named after him? Why didn't anybody tell me?" A vein popped on Sasuke's forehead. "That's not the point. I want to know why my fiancé was just arrested." Tsunade blinked. "Fiancé? You proposed? When? Hokage? Alright, keep your pants on." She sighed before continuing. "Sakura is saying Naruto put some kind of mind-control jutsu on you to make you love him. She's also saying the night before you left 2 months ago you and her slept together and now she's pregnant by you." Sasuke was seething. "What? I never touched that bitch. I don't know that the hell she's talking about. She's lying." Tsunade rubbed her palms together. "Well, it's been confirmed that she is in fact pregnant. And she was seen leaving your house that night wearing, well, nothing. She broke into my house and tried to seduce me by laying naked on my bed. I tossed her out on her ass and told her to never come on my property again or I would kill her. That may be so, but the council is against you. They believe her. They won't even listen to you. She told them that the night of her New Year's party, she caught him casting the jutsu on you. No, what she saw was me kissing him. There was no jutsu. If anything, I had to convince him to admit his feeling for me. You're willing to make a sworn statement on that?" "Yes." She thought about it for a moment. "I'll see if I can convince them to let you speak at Naruto's here in 3 days. Until then, none of you are allowed near him. It's a condition set by the council. I can't override it, but I was allowed to set the guards. First watch is to Ino and Lee. If anything goes wrong, they will contact me at once. I will Then contact one of you. You can all go now. Gaara, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Iruka all nodded and walked out, leaving Tsunami staring at the Hokage. Tsunade, shocked to see the woman still standing before her. Is there something you needed? Tsunami shook her head. Not really, but Naruto needs your help. Tsunade tensed. Who did this woman think she was? Did she honestly think she would leave Naruto to rot in a jail cell? I'm working on getting him out right now. Not that kind of help. His doctor told him the baby is taking too much of his chakra. He said Naruto could end up losing the baby if he didn't have someone give him some of their chakra. Now Tsunade was really lost. She laughed hesitantly. You do realize Naruto is a boy? Therefore he cannot have a baby taking his chakra. Tsunami's brows arched into her hairline. You do realize he has the Kyuubi inside of him? Therefore is it possible? The Hokage was getting a little annoyed with this woman. Are you trying to tell me that, not only is Naruto a runaway ninja, who happens to be under arrest for heinous crimes, is pregnant with the Uchiha's baby because the Kyuubi resides in him? That's exactly what I'm saying. You're not as dumb as Naruto said you were. Tsunade's fist shook. So Naruto thought she was dumb, huh? Oh, she will get him back for that after this whole ordeal is behind them. Also, he needs help with his chakra. I'll go see him later tonight and give him a checkup and see what I can do about his low chakra levels. Tsunami bowed. That's all I ask. Thank you very much. Tsunade rolled her eyes as the other woman walked out of the room. As soon as Tsunami was in the hall outside the Hokage's office, Sasuke walked up to her. What were you talking about in there? Tsunami took a deep breath. It's not my place to tell you. That's Naruto's job. Sasuke looked scared. Is something wrong with him? Or the baby? Are they okay? Tsunami bit her lip. She looked down at the floor. I'm going to tell you on one condition. You can't get mad, okay? Naruto was going to tell you once everything calmed down from him running away and then all of a sudden showing pregnant with your kid. Sasuke nodded his head. I won't get mad, promise. The baby is taking too much of Naruto's chakra. He needs help maintaining his chakra levels. That's why he needed to see that Tsunade lady. Sasuke's eyes went wide. His body started shaking. What will happen if he doesn't get help? Tsunami looked at Sasuke. She could see his body shaking badly. She wasn't sure she could answer, but how she found her voice. She spoke softly. If he doesn't get help, he and the baby could die. Sasuke's breathing became labored. All he could think about was Naruto sitting in a cell somewhere. He knew what the Konoha jails were like. He had been placed in one after leaving Orochimaru's control. They were damp and dusty. Not the best place for even a rat to be for more than a day. His chest tightened at the thought of Naruto and his baby dying in the cell alone. Tears started streaming down his face. They can't die. Naruto is everything to me. If he and the baby die, I would follow them shortly after. I can't imagine living without them. I need them. I don't want them to die. Please don't let them die. Tsunami wasn't sure if Sasuke was speaking to her or some god. She walked up to him and hugged him closely. It's going to be okay. Tsunade said she would go to him tonight and check him over and see what could be done. About the chakra problem, you trust Tsunade, don't you? Sasuke nodded. Then trust that she will help them. She let go of him and stepped back. Now, I need you show me to the nearest inn. Sasuke scoffed. You're not going to stay in an inn. None of the inns in Konoha are sanitary enough to even walk in. You'll stay with me. I don't want to impose. You won't. Plus, once Naruto's out, we'll need all the help we can get. Neither of us knows how to take care of a baby. Tsunami smiled. Only if you're sure. I'll pull my own weight by cooking and cleaning for you. You look like you could do with a good, fattening meal. The gods only know how long it's been since you've had a proper meal. Sasuke looked down at the floor. It's been since before my parents were murdered. Tsunami's face took in a shocked look. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. Sasuke smiled softly and shook his head. You didn't. They're good memories. Everything before that night is a good memory. He turned and started walking away. Tsunami followed. Sasuke led her down the hallway of the Uchiha main house. He stopped outside a large wooden door. He held it open for Tsunami to walk in. It was a big room with a large 4-post bed in the middle. It had matching nightstands on both sides. The bed spread was white with red roses all over it. Sasuke, it's beautiful. It was my parents' room. I thought you might like it better. It has its own bathroom, so you wouldn't have to share with 4 guys and a baby. Tsunami inhaled sharply upon hearing the room belonged to his dead parents. I can't sleep in here, Sasuke. You and Naruto should. I don't want to make you uncomfortable by being in here. You won't make me uncomfortable. The only reason the room hasn't been used is because I never have guests. You can sleep here. My mother would have wanted someone to use the room instead of it being like a shrine to them. He smiled wistful. She always said, as long as you have good memories, you will never need material things to remind you of loved ones. Tsunami smiled sadly. She sounds like a very smart woman. She was. Anyway, why don't you get settled in? I'll bring you some towels for the bathroom. Thank you, Sasuke, for everything. I should be thanking you. You took care of Naruto and my baby. You saved my love. For that I am eternally in your debt. She rolled her eyes. You owe me nothing. I love Naruto like a second son. And I know Inari looks to him like a brother. You should always protect family, no matter what. Sasuke chuckled. You sound like a very smart woman, too. I think, if my mother were still alive, you two could have been close friends. I think so, too. 3 days later everyone was seated in the Hokage Tower in the meeting room. Sasuke could see Sakura sitting in the front next to a middle-aged woman, who could only be her mother. They had the same hair color for the god's sake. Tsunade was sitting off to the side of a very long table. She looked very pissed off. Sasuke was nervous. Tsunade pulled it off. He was going to speak on behalf of Naruto. He only hoped he wouldn't make things worse. The councilmen filed in. They had grim looks on their faces. The one in the middle, who looked familiar to Sasuke, spoke first. We are here to make Naruto Uzumaki answer for his evil crimes. Sasuke gritted his teeth too. Keep from yelling out. Bring in the defendant. Sasuke watched as Naruto was led in. His hands were chained together. He had a bruised left eye and a healing cut on his lip. Sasuke couldn't believe what he was seeing. Tsunade had said she was in charge of who was guarding him. Who would do this, and why? To say the least, both Gaara and Sasuke had to be restrained. Though Gaara was being held back by Temari and Kakashi, it didn't stop him from yelling. What the hell is the meaning of this? Is this how Konoha handles their prisoners? They allow them to be beaten? Cage, please refrain from yelling out. Sasuke ignored the yelling and looked over at Sakura. She had an evil smirk on her face. It pissed him off to see her sitting there like she was the queen of the fucknig world. You fucking bitch. Everyone in the room looked at Sasuke. Sakura's eyes went wide. How could you do this to him? He was your friend. Even after all the rude things you've done to him over the years, he still looked out for you and tried to be there for you. Sakura stood up. You call this being there for me? He tricked you into leaving me alone and pregnant. That thing is no friend of mine. Sasuke. He looked at Naruto. Leave her alone. Everyone looked at Naruto in shock. Naruto, you can't seriously mean that. I don't believe this. She's trying to have you put to death for something you never did and you're still trying to protect her. Naruto looked down at the ground. She's just trying to help you. She loves you and believes you love her back. She's doing what she thinks is right. Let her be. Sasuke's jaw hit the floor. He turned back to Sakura. I don't believe. He's still trying to protect you. Sakura wrinkled her nose. I don't need him to protect me. All I need is you, Sasuke. You can protect me and our baby. Like hell I will. It's not mine. I never slept with you. What has he done to you? You don't even remember the night before you left? We were together all night. You made love to me, and I conceived your heir. It's not mine. Like I said, I never slept with you. You are obliviously crazy. The council members started getting twitchy. Enough. Everyone please sit down this instant. Everyone sat down quietly. Now, first we will hear from Sakura Haruno. Young lady, please tell us what you saw that night. Sakura put on her sweetest smile as she stood up. Thank you. It happened at my New Year's party. I was looking for Sasuke because he said he was going to bathroom, but he never came back. I got worried. I mean, he never stays away from me for that long. When I got to the balcony, Naruto was doing some kind of hand signals. I don't remember what they were, but once he was done, he pounced on Sasuke and started kissing him. I grabbed him by the shirt and yanked him away. I told him to leave and he did. But Sasuke followed him, even after I tried to stop him. It was like he was in a trance or something. The council men whispered amongst themselves for a second. All the while, Naruto's friends were seething with anger. Hinata and Sasuke knew she had just bluntly lied to the council. Thank you, Mrs. Haruno. You may take your seat. And might I add, you are a brave young lady for coming forward with this. You are a strong woman. The Uchiha will be pleased to have you as a wife once that thing is out of the way. Sakura smiled and sat down. Since when did the council speak for Sasuke? He glared at them as they watched him. You don't speak for me. The only person I will be marrying is Naruto. He is the one I love, not that bitch. Sakura's mother stood up, walked over to Sasuke and attempted to slap him, but, being an Uchiha, he blocked it. How dare you sit there and call my daughter such names when all she has ever done was love you? You have made love to my daughter and gotten her pregnant. And now you want to leave her for the Kyuubi. Sasuke twisted the woman's arm, not enough to break it, but enough to make her scream. Your daughter is a deceitful, lying, little bitch who isn't worth my time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I never slept with Sakura. I don't know whose child she carries, but it's not mine. There's only one way to prove this. The council men scrutinized him for a moment. How can you prove the child isn't yours? When an Uchiha is born, its eyes are red for about a week. If the child she carries has red eyes, then I'll take financial responsibly, but there is not way in hell you can make me marry her. Fine. The council men made to get up. What about Naruto? What about that thing? Sasuke glared at them murderously. He's not a thing. He's my fiancé. And he can't stay in the cells, he could die. The council man at the far end of the table smiled. All the more reason to leave him there. He has no rights. He is nothing. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other. Naruto nodded, giving Sasuke permission to tell them about the baby he carries. He is going to be my husband and, so to speak, the mother of my heir. He carries my child. So, even if Sakura gave birth to an Uchiha, it would never be my heir. Naruto is due to give birth before her. The whole room was silent. Some were angry, some were shocked, and some were happy. The council man from before spoke again. It and that thing it carried can rot in a jail cell. Men have no right to be pregnant. For all we know, it could be the Kyuubi trying to gain a body of its own. Suande stood up. I can assure you, the child Naruto carries is human. And if you do not let him out until Sakura gives birth, you will have a murderous Uchiha on your hands. She played them like a finely tuned fiddle. Upon hearing the words, murderous, and Uchiha, in the same sentence, they became very worried. They whispered among themselves once more. Fine, we will release him into the hands of an Anbu member. Is anyone willing to do that? Looking around, no one stood up at first. I will take responsibility for Naruto. Sakura was livid once more. How dare Sai help him and not her? He was supposed to be her friend. How could he just flip on her like that? It wasn't fair. Fine, we release Naruto Uzumaki into your hands, Sai. He is to live with you. And he is not allowed out without you at his side. And under no circumstance is he to be left alone in a place with Sasuke. Yes, sir. Sai silently walked up to Naruto and unchained his hands. Instantly, Naruto ran to Sasuke and hugged him tightly. Sasuke closed his eyes. He was hoping he wouldn't start crying in a room full of people. I love you so much, Sasuke. That did it. Sasuke buried his face in the crook of Naruto's neck and cried. I love you so much as well. They clung to each other for dear life, both openly wept together. Someone behind Naruto cleared his throat. I'm sorry, Naruto, but we had to go. Sasuke can come, too. The council members only said you couldn't be alone in a place with him. Naruto nodded and looked at Sasuke. Do you want to come with me? Dobi, of course I do. Sasuke turned around to Tsunami. Do you remember the way back to the Uchiha district? Yes, go with Naruto. I'll see you later tonight or tomorrow. Thank you. Sasuke turned back to Naruto only to see him smiling like an idiot. What? Nothing. All of a sudden, you have to ask permission to come over to someone else's house? Shut up, Naruto. No, I think it's cute. Naruto, don't make me hurt you once that child is out of you. Naruto frowned. Great, I have an abusive fiancé. I'm not abusive, I just won't let you make fun of me. Whatever. With that, Naruto laced his fingers with Sasuke's and followed Sai to his new home. Sai showed Naruto to a room down that hall from his own. It was small, but nice. This will be your room. I don't want you changing things in here. Naruto and Sasuke looked around. Naruto started to fidget. Sai and Sasuke both looked at him. Naruto, what's wrong? Is the room not nice enough? Naruto glared at Sai. Don't be an ass. The room is fine. I'm just worried about what happens after the baby is born. Sai looked at Sasuke. Sasuke looked at Sai. It was a reasonable worry. Before either could reply, Naruto yawned loudly. Sasuke wrapped his arms around Naruto's large belly. Why don't you go to sleep? Sai and I will talk in the other room about what to do. Sai walked out of the room. Okay, I love you, Sasuke. I love you, too, Naruto. Get some sleep. I doubt that cell was comfortable. Sasuke kissed Naruto and walked out. Sai watched Sasuke walk into the room and sit in the chair across from him. He has a point. Him and that baby can't stay here with you. Sai sighed. I know. I was thinking about that, too. He looked Sasuke in the eyes. I know sometimes I don't show it, and I do make fun of him a lot, but Naruto is a friend of mine. If you hurt him, I will hurt you. Sasuke's eyes went wide. Why is everyone so worried that I'm going to hurt Naruto? I would never hurt him if I could help it. What do you mean, if you could help it? Sasuke looked down. I still have the curse seal, and Kabuto is still out there somewhere. Orochimaru taught him how to use it. If he ever decides to come after him, he will make me hurt Naruto so that he can't stop him. I don't think he will. He can't do much without Orochimaru, and he's dead. Sai's brow knitted together. If Orochimaru taught Kabuto to use the curse seal, then wouldn't he teach him other things, like the Edo Tensei? No, he didn't trust Kabuto enough to teach him the resurrection jutsu. Orochimaru didn't think he would use it properly. He did, however, teach it to me. Why would he teach you that and not his right-hand man? Sasuke smiled. I made him think he could trust me and not Kabuto. Sai inclined his head. Cleaver. Sasuke chuckled. We've gotten off topic. So, it seems. It was silent for a moment. I think, to make the council happy, Naruto should stay here with you. But after the baby is born, if you consent to it, I would like for you both to live in the Uchiha district, in the main house with me. Sai thought about it for a second. It seems that's the only option we have. Alright, I'll go. Sai looked at Sasuke, trying to find a way to ask a question without starting a fight. I have to ask, is Sakura pregnant with your other child? The Sharingan blazed. I never touched her. And I wish people would stop thinking I did. The only person I've ever been with like that is Naruto. Sai scrutinized the Uchiha. He was looking for any signs of deceit. I believe you. I don't think the child is yours. But the question still remains. Whose is it? I think I'll follow her. She's quiet, easy to tail. Very forgetful, plus, it's my job. Recon is what I do best. You think she will lead you to the real father? If it's who I think it is, then yes. Who do you think it is? I don't want to say anything. I know your temper. I don't need to have your killing people. Just wait until I get more information, then if it's true, I'll let you murder him. Sai got up and headed for the door of his room. At the door he paused and looked back at Sasuke. You can stay the night in Naruto's room. He's been through a lot of the past few days. In the morning, though, I want you to see if you can get him to tell you who did that to his face. Sasuke only nodded. Sai walked into his room. Sasuke sat in the chair next to the bed. It was 12 in the morning. He needed to get sleep. He got up and crawled into the bed behind Naruto. He wrapped his arms around him and hugged him to his chest. I'm going to protect you no matter what. Angels like you should never be hurt. He fell asleep holding the one thing most precious to him. Naruto walked down the streets of Konoha to his favorite ramen stand. He took notice of the heated glares he got from the people of the village. He crossed his arms over his chest, trying to comfort himself. It wasn't working. He didn't like them hating him, but there was nothing he could do. What's done is done. And even if he had a chance to go back in time, he wouldn't do anything differently. Naruto sat down on a stool at the ramen stand. Hey, kid, that's some gut you're sporting. Naruto looked up into the face of the owner. Hey, yeah, I take you haven't heard then if you're being nice to me. The old moss smiled. I've heard the news and I don't really care. To me, love has no gender. I had an uncle once that was gay. Boy, he would have loved to be able to have kids like you. You're the lucky one. Naruto smiled the biggest smile since returning to the village. You don't think I'm a freak? No, why would I think that? You're my best customer. The old man set 2 bowls on ramen in front of Naruto. He hadn't even ordered yet, but the old man knew what to give him. Hell, Naruto ate here almost every day. So, where's that fiance? Of yours, anyway? Sasuke? Naruto looked around. I don't really know. Hey, wait a second. Where's Sai? He's not supposed to leave me alone? I'm going to get into trouble. Naruto started panicking. Hey, calm down. I won't let you get into trouble, promise. Naruto sat down and once more began eating his ramen. Thanks. Just can't believe they ditched me. I bet you anything, they're training. Naruto pouted. It's not fair. I wish I could train again. Just then Naruto heard a voice behind him. Well. Look who it is, boys. The freak. Naruto turned around to see a group of village men standing behind him. His face turned red as he started to panic inwardly. He may be scared, but he'd never let them know that. The stand owner glared at the newcomers. Why don't you leave him alone and move along? The leader glared back. Why don't you stay out of this, old man? You might get hurt. The old man smirked. I'm not the one who's gonna get hurt. He then pointed to 2 figures standing behind the group. Sure enough, there was Sasuke. His Sharingan was activated. What the hell is going on here? He looked from the group to Naruto and back again. The leader stepped forward, just walked by and noticed the dog didn't have his keeper. The man smirked to Sai, who was standing next to Sasuke, equally pissed off. I'm not Naruto's keeper. I'm his friend. Sai continued to glare. He didn't like these men. The group of men had a disgust look on their faces. A thing like that doesn't deserve friends. It shouldn't even be allowed to breathe. The leader reached out and grabbed Naruto by the collar of his oversized black shirt. He lifted Naruto into the air. Isn't that right, freak? The man was glaring at Naruto, who was struggling to get away. Suddenly, a shuriken whizzed by the leader's head. Both turned to see Sasuke holding another shuriken, ready to attack. Put him down, now. Naruto was dropped flat on his backside. The leader bent down. Just you wait until the Uchiha isn't around. You'll get what's coming to you. He then stood up, snapped his fingers, and walked away with the others following. Sasuke helped Naruto up. What did he say to you? Naruto sat down. Don't worry about it. It wasn't important. Where's Tsunami? She's at the gate, waiting for Inari and Shin to arrive. Did you forget they were coming today? Naruto smiled and scratched the back of his head. I guess I did forget. Sai looked at the owner. What was said before we got here? Not much. Just them being stupid. Sai looked in the direction the group had walked away in. To his surprise, Sakura and Neji were talking in an alleyway not too far away. It looked as if they were arguing. Neither Naruto nor Sasuke had seen the pair standing in TH Street. I'll be right back. Without looking at the others, he walked towards Sakura and Neji. Sasuke and Naruto stared after Sai. What do you suppose that was about? I don't know. Sasuke turned his eyes on Naruto and looked him up and down. Are you alright? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm good. Naruto put his hands on his now very large belly. Baby's good too. Ouch. That was my appendix, ya brat. Naruto looked up at Sasuke and glared. Your kid kicks like a mule. Sasuke only smirked and put his hand over the spot Naruto was rubbing. At least we know he's alright. Naruto raised an eyebrow. And just how do you know it's going to be a boy? Sasuke shrugged. I don't, but saying him sounds better than it all the time. Naruto blinked his eyes for a second. You have a point. Naruto laughed slightly before digging into the fresh bowl of ramen that was placed in front of him by the owner. Hurry up and eat, Dobi. You have an appointment with the Hokage. Naruto's hand stopped halfway to his mouth. Ah, man, she's cutting into my mealtime. Sasuke rolled his eyes. If she says everything is fine, I'll get you more. Naruto's face lit up. Promise? Yes. But she has to say it's okay first. Got it? Yeah, got it. Naruto finished his food. Sasuke paid, of course. They walked hand in hand to the Hokage's office. They got plenty of hated glares. But a few nice people smiled and congratulated them on their baby and wedding. It was those few good people who made Naruto feel as if nothing was wrong with him. Sai hid behind a fishmonger's stand. He could see the slight bulge of Sakura's stomach. He noted that it didn't look the same as Naruto's. But then again, Naruto was male and Sakura was female. Surely, there had to be some differences. He leaned closer to the two he was spying on. I refuse to be a part of this plan anymore. I don't want Naruto hurt. But you seem to want him dead. And for nothing. Sakura glared at Neji. It's not for nothing. He's a piece of trash that has tricked Sasuke into sleeping with him so he could get pregnant and have Sasuke leave me. Neji looked at as if she had grown an extra head. Are you crazy? Naruto didn't trick him into it. Even I have to admit how much Sasuke loves him. I've watched them this whole time. You've made Naruto even more of an outcast than before. You're hurting him, and I won't stand for it. I'd rather see him in the arms of another than to be hurt just because I was jealous. This ends now. I'm going to tell the councilmen everything. Sakura slapped him across the face. You listen to me. I love Sasuke more than anything. And I will do anything to get him. If Naruto must die for that to happen, then that is what will happen. And who do you think the council will believe? You, who never gave them a reason to trust. Or me, who is a sweet, innocent girl. Face it, Hyuga, you have no choice but to help me. With that, she left a shocked Neji standing alone. Sai couldn't believe it. So, Neji was in on it. Well, there were quite a bit of people who would love to know this bit of information. Sai set off to find others. Tsunami stood waiting. The two guards were throwing her ugly looks. No doubt it was because she was friends with Naruto. To her, this village had serious issues. They treat Naruto as if he was something evil. What idiots. To fear a child was redundant in her eyes. Would you two stop glaring at me, please? It's rude. It's rude to let that thing stay alive. How did he trick you into being nice? Tsunami stared dumbstruck at the guards. He didn't do anything to me. And for that fact, he didn't do anything to Sasuke either. So what if he can get pregnant? I didn't know Konoha was against people giving birth. We aren't. But that thing's name is Naruto. And you had better learn it. One day that boy is going to be Hokage. And there's nothing you can do about it. So just deal with him being here. Just then Inari and Shin could be seen in the distance. With a final glare at the guards, Tsunami raced towards the boys with a big smile on her face. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. She hugged each of the boys. I was so worried something had happened. Mom, we're fine. Just got distracted Abbott. Distracted by what? Inari turned bright pink as Shin smiled smugly. Tsunami's eyes went wide. Oh, that, right. Okay. Well, let me show you to where we will be living. Is it a nice place? Yes it is. But, it's not ours. So, don't go breaking anything. Inari and Shin exchanged looks of confusion. Whose house is it? Tsunami turned and smiled. It's Sasuke's. Inari ran to catch up with his mother. So, everything is cool between them? Tsunami smiled at her son. More than that, they are engaged to be married. Well, Naruto, everything seems to be fine. I still don't think you should be eating so much ramen. But, if you must eat it, at least eat something else with it. Like an orange or something with vitamins in it. Also, are you still taking those prenatal pills I gave you? Yes, old hag, I am. When he didn't get scolded for the name calling, he looked at her face and saw a worried expression. Hey, what with the face? I had to do a DNA test on the baby. It won't hurt at all, I promise. Both Naruto and Sasuke had jumped up and started yelling at her. Are you insane? Whose idea was that? The council's. They want proof that the baby really is Sasuke's. Sasuke was livid. Does Sakura have to do this too? Well, no. But that's only because they believe her. Sasuke looked at Naruto. What has to be done? Tsunade bit her lip. I have to stick a needle in the placenta. It won't hurt you or the baby. This isn't right. You think I don't know that, Uchiha? Don't forget I'm on your side. I think the council can shove their bigotry up their asses. Do it. Sasuke stared at Naruto. Are you really going to let her stick a needle in your stomach just to make the council happy? Yes, I am. It will be one more thing in our favor. It could only help us, not hurt us. I know, and you know, that this baby is ours. But they don't. For all they know, the Kyuubi could have created this child all on its own just to gain a body. Kid, you know I wouldn't do that. I know, they don't. Whatever. Oh, by the way, tell that lady doctor of yours that I don't have enough chakra to make a birth canal. She's going to have to cut the baby out. Just peachy. Great, now I have to get cut open. Perfect. Sorry, Kit, it's okay. Naruto. Naruto. Naruto snapped his head to Tsunade's angry face. Huh? Oh, sorry. I was talking to the Kyuubi. She said to tell you she can't make a birth canal. Not enough chakra. So, I have to be ready for a C-section? Yup. Now, about this DNA test, how long will it take? Well, I have to draw the DNA today, then, it will be about a week until the results are ready. Then do it already. Naruto lifted up his shirt as Tsunade neared him with the biggest needle he had ever seen. Scared out of his mind, he reached for Sasuke's hand. He closed his eyes as he felt her clean a spot on his belly. Don't move. She pressed the pointed tip of the needle to the cleaned spot and pushed it into his skin. She heard him whimper as Sasuke whispered in his ear. Once the needle was full, she pulled it from Naruto's stomach. There, all done. You're free to go. Tsunade watched the pair leave with sadness in her eyes. They shouldn't have to prove anything to the council. There had to be something she could do to help, but what? Tsunami watched Inari and Shin walk around the garden. They stopped to look at every rose bush and fountain. It was a beautiful spot. It was her favorite place. It was Kate. She could think here. She felt safe. It was her heaven. Mom, this place is amazing. How did Sasuke get it? She smiled. You know about his family. Since he is the last of his clan, he inherited it. Just then they heard the back door open. Sasuke's voice yelled out to them. Hello? Tsunami, are you here? In the garden, Sasuke. He ate paired at the door with Sai Intao. Where's Naruto? He smiled. He was a little tired so he's resting on the couch. You can go see him if you want, just don't get him hyper and don't mention ramen. All three looked at him oddly. Why can't we mention ramen? Sasuke chuckled. The Hokage told him he should eat less or start eating fruit with it. He's not too happy about that. Inari, Shin, and Tsunami all smiled knowingly. That's what his doctor back home said. He wasn't too happy then either. Shizune stared at Tsunade dumbfounded. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Are you sure? They agreed to help? And they know who they are helping? Tsunade smiled. I just spoke with them. They said that they would do whatever it took to help Naruto. They disagree with the council just as much as we do, if not more. Shizune smiled and started jumping up and down excitedly. I can't believe this. With them on our side, Naruto will be safe. And he and Sasuke can get married. Oh, this is wonderful. Tsunade laughed at Shizune's childness. We can't tell anyone until Naruto's next hearing. I don't want to chance the council finding out and trying to stop this. How would they be able to stop them? I don't know, but I'm not taking that chance. Well, I think I'll go start dinner. Anything in particular you boys want? Tsunami stood with her hands on her hips waiting for an answer. Ramen. Naruto started bouncing on the couch. Tsunami smiled. Fine, but you have to have something healthy with it. What would you like? Naruto folded his arms over his chest. Don't need anything else, just ramen. Sasuke glared at Naruto. You need to eat something other than just ramen. Tsunade said so. What does the old hag know? A hell of a lot considering she's the Hokage and head Medi Nin. Naruto made a face. It was close to a mad child that wasn't get his way. It was cute, in Sasuke's opinion. Fine, whatever. Tsunami looked at the pouting boy. So, what will it be? Surprise me. He grumbled and sulked on the couch. Naruto had to admit strawberries tasted good with ramen. Alatha he suspected it only tasted good because he was pregnant. After dinner they all sat in the living room talking about plans for the nursery. They had all put in their 2 cents. Sai thought weaponry was a good theme for a baby's room. Needless to say Naruto disagreed. After about an hour of arguing about the decor, Sasuke and Naruto decided to let Tsunami was very pleased that they trusted her enough to let her do this important thing for them. When all was said and done, Naruto and Sai decided it was time to leave. Sasuke was about to leave with them when Naruto told him he thought it would be best if he said home that night. Much to Sasuke's distress, he had to agree with him. He didn't need the council causing more trouble for Naruto and him. He shuddered to think of what else they could think up to hurt Naruto. The next morning Inari came over to Sai's home to sit with Naruto. Sai had harangued it the night before. He didn't need Naruto asking where he was going or what he was doing. As soon as Inari showed up, Sai was gone. His objective today was to find out what Sakura's plan was. But more importantly, he needed to find out who the father of Sakura's baby really was. Sai had waited on the market main street all morning. He had almost given up hope when he had spotted the pink-hair hussy about 30 feet in front of him. She seemed to be looking for something. Sai noted how desperate she was looking for said something. He slowly crept toward as he reached her. Neji had walked up to her. "You find it yet?" Sakura looked up at Neji with a pissed look. "Does it look like I found it?" "No." Sakura rolled her eyes. "Then wouldn't that suggest that I haven't found it?" Neji crossed his arms over his chest. "Geez. What's got your panties in a twist?" "Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that we can't pull this little coup off without the key." Just as Neji went to respond, Sakura dove to the ground. "There it is. I knew I dropped it there." She turned to Neji. "Alright, let's get started." She turned to walk away, then stopped and turned to him again. "How long till Naruto is scheduled to give birth anyways? This won't work unless I know when to tell them to be here." Neji stared at the kunoichi for a second. "He's due in 3. Tsunade is prepared for the baby to come at any moment. Kiba said something about the baby may come 2 months earlier than a normal baby." "Good, so I'll tell them to be here in 1 month. If the baby comes early we will be ready." Sakura smiled big. "Oh, my plan is working so well. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with Sasuke and our baby." Sai watched the two walk away. Hearing all that only spurred on more questions of what were they planning. He had to talk to Sasuke about this new little development. Naruto sat in his small room alone. He had just gotten word that the council wanted to make a big fuss about the results of his baby's DNA test by having a hearing, an open hearing. Everyone in the village was allowed to come if they wanted. That meant Sakura would be there. He really didn't understand her anymore. At one point in their lives they were best friends. Everything was normal, but once they got Sasuke back things changed. She started following him around more and telling people little white lies. Nothing serious, just things like, "Sasuke told me this," or, "Sasuke and I did this together." This is the farthest she's ever taken the lies. Naruto knew she would be angry to hear about them being together and having a family, but this was too much. Sakura was losing touch with reality. He only hoped things would be okay. He didn't want to see Sakura get hurt, but he also couldn't give Sasuke up. He loved the other man too much to lose him now. Naruto left once, he didn't have it in him to leave again. He looked up when he heard his bedroom door open. Kiba stepped into view. "Hey, Naruto." The blonde's face lit up. "Hey, man, what's up? Where's Akamaru?" "He's outside. Sai doesn't like dogs in his apartment." Naruto made a face. "Okay, then. So, what are you up to today?" Kiba shuffled into the room and sat on the edge of Naruto's bed. "I wanted to talk to you about something." Naruto arched a brow. "Dude, you know you can talk me about anything." The brunette smiled. "Yeah, I know." He flashed Naruto a huge smile. "Anyways, I wanted you to know before everyone else. Shino and I are gonna have a baby." He paused for Naruto's reaction. The blonde's eyes went wide and a grin broke in his face. "That's great, man. I can't believe it. Now my kid can have a friend." He rested his hands on the bulge of his midsection. "This really is great, man. Congrats. How did you talk him into it?" Kiba shook his head. "I didn't. We never got a chance to talk about it for one reason or another. But then I found out a few days ago that I was pregnant. I thought he would be pissed, but he was happy. I couldn't believe it. I was so relieved when he told me he was happy about the baby." "So, how far along are you?" Naruto couldn't stop grinning. He was so happy for his friends. 1 month and 3 days. Still kind of early, but mom said everything will be just fine. She checked me over and said the baby seems strong even at this young stage. Normally the men in my clan get hidden away when they are pregnant and we tell people they are sick or something, but not this time." Naruto frowned. "What do you mean?" Kiba smiled at his friend. "Well, the clan talked it over and we all think it will help you out if we let people know I'm pregnant. And don't you start in about how it's too dangerous, it's already been decided. You have no say." Naruto crossed his arms over his chest and, HMPD. "That's not fair, man. What if something happens to you?" The Inuzuka rolled his eyes. "Yeah, like the clan or Shino would ever let anything happen to me. Do you know what I had to do to get here alone? Akamaru and I have been running around in circles all morning trying to get away from my sister, who apparently is supposed to be my babysitter." Kiba looked around the small room. "Man, aren't you tired of sitting in this room all the time?" Why don't we go do something? Naruto made a face. I wish I could, but Sai doesn't like doing anything. This is all we do. Kiba's left eyebrow arched. Well, I'm not taking no for an answer, let's go. This is not how Sai wanted to spend his afternoon. He wanted to sit in his living room and paint, but no, now he's walking down the street with Naruto and his friend with the big white dog. Not to mention, he still had to tail Sakura to get information for Sasuke. They needed to know what she was up to. Sai watched the faces of the villagers. He didn't like the look they were giving Naruto's stomach. He was still learning emotions, but he knew hatred was one he didn't like. It wasn't fair to hate someone just because they fell in love. True, he didn't understand what love was, but he knew it wasn't something bad. His books told him it was something to be cherished forever. So why then was the whole village mad at Naruto for finding something so precious? Sai looked at the two boys. Naruto, where is Sasuke? The blonde thought about it for a second. I think he's at the training grounds. Why? I wanted to talk to him about something. Let's go. He turned and headed towards the training grounds without waiting for the other two to answer him. As they approached the grounds they could hear arguing. Naruto looked at the other two and could see their faces. Sasuke pissed someone off again. Oh, joy. It seems like that was all Sasuke could do lately was piss people off. Naruto hoped it would end soon, but so far it hadn't. They walked closer and could see Sasuke arguing with Sakura about something. This is bad. Sai motioned for the pregnant boys to stay put while he got closer. They nodded and found a tree to sit under. The boys watched him slip into the trees. Akamaru curled up at their feet and fell asleep. Kiba looked at Naruto, who was watching the arguing pair closely. I don't know how you do it, Naruto. If it was me I would have ran over there and tried to kill the bitch. Naruto's blue eyes glimmered. It would do no good. It would probably make things worse for Sasuke, and it's better to just let her do what she wants and have faith that everything will turn out okay. Kiba's eyes bugged out. Okay, who are you and what have you done with Naruto? What is that supposed to mean? Naruto crossed his arms over his chest and placed a scold on his face. The Inuzuka laughed softly. I mean, that's something I never expected to hear from you. You have a temper on you and get riled up pretty quick, but through this whole thing you've been nothing but calm. You're better than me. I would have lost it by now. All the things she's saying would have made me beyond pissed. She'd be dead. The blonde smiled. But then you would be in jail and your baby wouldn't fare very well in there. It's all about my baby now. I'm not letting anything harm it, no matter what. If I get worked up over something, anything that can stress my baby out and that can harm it. Stress is bad for a developing baby, at least that's what I read in the baby book Sasuke bought me. I have to stay calm for my baby's health. I will not let some bimbo get to me and cause me to harm my baby. I will stay calm and let Sasuke handle the stress part. Wow, you really have matured, Naruto. You're going to make a great mommy. Naruto's jaw hit the ground. Wow. What do you mean, mommy? I'm a guy. Kiba laughed hard that time. But you are the one that's going to give birth, Naruto. That makes you the mommy. Don't feel so bad about it. I'm going to be the mommy to my kid too. Naruto started to grumble. Fine, whatever. As long as I'm not the only one. He started to pout. Stupid Sasuke. Why does he get to be the daddy and I have to be the mommy? Stupid Kyuubi for making me be the mommy. It's not fair. At that all Kiba could do was smile. They sat in complete silence for a moment, watching the fight in front of them. They couldn't hear what was being said, but they knew it had something to do with Naruto. You know, I don't understand her anymore. I mean, you were her friend. Why can't she just be happy for you and get over Sasuke? She had a huge crush on Sasuke too, but she's getting over it and she's genuinely happy for you guys. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, man. I think she just snapped. She always thought Sasuke would come back for her one day. Maybe all these years of fantasizing about him have blurred her reality. Either way, once Sasuke and I get married there's nothing anyone can do. As Sai crept closer their voices got louder. He could see Sasuke pacing back and forth and Sakura looked like she was telling him something. No doubt Sasuke was pacing so the woman wouldn't try and put her hands on him. The Uchiha had told him enough about her little grouping fests to make him sick for a year. As he pushed the sickening thoughts aside, he focused on the conversation in front of him. He knew neither of them could see him. Sasuke, one day you will see it from my side. I know what I saw that night. I know what he did to you. And I know you love me, you just don't know it yet. Sakura, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. I don't love you, I love him. He didn't do anything to me, and I am going to marry him. End of discussion. Sakura sighed. Okay, look, you have to understand, no matter what, the council will not allow that thing to have a child. They know it is the Kyuubi, and tomorrow at the DNA reading it will all end. There's no way that child is yours or Naruto's. Sasuke rolled his eyes. You can be so stupid, you know that. Why can't you just accept this and move on? Find someone else to obsess over. Maybe you could obsess over the real father of that baby. He knew that would piss her off. Sakura saw red. Her hands clenched at her side. You are the father of this baby. I know it. There's no doubt in my mind that you are my baby's father. I know you know it too, you just have to remember. Sasuke breathed in a calming breath. He replied in a shaky voice. Listen, and listen well. You and I never slept together. I fathered only one child, and Naruto carries that child. I don't know who you slept with, but it wasn't me. I'm sorry if you think it was, but it wasn't. Now, I suggest you walk away before I hurt her. Sakura fought back tears as she listened to Sasuke, but knew now was not the time to have this conversation. Alright, I'll go. But just remember, I love you and I will find a way to break this jutsu Naruto has put on you. She stepped forward and kissed Sasuke lightly on the lips. Before he could react, she was gone. Sasuke couldn't believe that girl. She had some nerve kissing him. He started wiping his mouth and spitting on the ground. He wanted that girl's taste out of his mouth. Sasuke turned around to see Kiba and Naruto staring right at him. He could see Naruto was trying to stay calm, but his face showed the anger he truly felt. As he headed towards the pair, all he wanted to do was calm the blonde down so he wouldn't explode. Just as he reached them, he saw Sai step out of practically nowhere. Slowly Sasuke reached his hand out to Naruto and grabbed the blonde's smaller one. Naruto, are you okay? Said blonde huffed. Not really. As hard as I try, she really is starting to get to me. I don't know what to do about it either. I don't want to worry, but the things she's doing, like kissing you, are really starting to get under my skin. Sai looked between the two. Naruto, I need to get you home so I can trail her. I am getting closer to discovering what she is really up to and who the father of her baby really is, and I need to follow her now. The blonde nodded his head and led the way home for the others. Once Sai was sure Naruto was safe at home with Kiba, Akamaru, and Sasuke, he left to trail the pink-haired girl. If he hurried, he could find her easily. A few moments later, he found her at the ramen stand with Neji again. She seemed to be with him a lot lately. That in itself was very odd to the dark-haired boy. As he crept closer, he could hear the conversation very well. I still think we should back off, Sakura. Once Sasuke finds out what you are doing, he will kill you and no one will be able to stop him. Neji's head was bent, almost as if he was being submissive. No, he's going to thank me for saving him from that thing. I know he wants to be saved, it's just the jutsu that thing used on him that is keeping him there. She was getting very pissed of today. It wasn't fair. Why couldn't anyone see that all she was trying to do was help Sasuke? Look, this is a big mistake. We were wrong in trying to break them up. It's not right. They belong together. Sakura was now shaking with anger. No, Sasuke belongs with me and everyone knows it. Don't forget what your part in all this was? Do you really want everyone finding out what you did at that party? Neji's head snapped up quickly to stare her in the eyes. You know I wasn't myself that night. I didn't know what I was doing. I heard him pleading with you to stop. Face it, you raped him and you know it. You heard him say stop and you kept going. You wanted to hurt him. You wanted him as your own and you did what you had to make that happen. You are just as much a part of this plan as I am. Not to mention, all I have to say is that it was all your idea and you forced me to help you. You know the council will believe me like they always do. Neji couldn't believe what he was hearing. You mean like they believe you about that, baby? Don't think I haven't noticed that either. I know all about it. Sakura didn't give him a chance to finish talking before she reared back and punched him with only half her strength, but it was enough to knock him on his ass a few feet away from her. You listen and you listen good. No matter what you say or do, the council will always believe the damsel in distress. Like I said, it was all your idea, not mine. And with that she left. Sai was beside himself. So that was who raped Naruto. He couldn't believe it. He needed to tell Sasuke as soon as possible. It was early in the morning when Tsunami heard someone knock on the door. It was too early to be Naruto and Sai. She knew how much Naruto loved and needed to sleep. Curious as to whom it was, she walked to the door and opened it. With hands on her hips she regarded the person before. "And just what are you doing here?" The pink-haired woman smiled. "Well, hello to you, to Tsunami. I'm sure Sasuke would love to know how rude you're being to the mother of his child." "Ha, you aren't the mother of Sasuke's child. Now leave before he gets home and kills you. He has told me not to allow you here." Sakura glared at the older woman. "When this jutsu of Naruto's is broken in Sasuke and I get married, I will make sure you are thrown out of my house." Tsunami sighed heavily. "This will never be your house, you will never marry Sasuke, and you really should leave now, because my son and his boyfriend are home and will have no problem making you leave." "Fine, just give this to Sasuke. I know he will want to see it." She handed Tsunami a big yellow envelope with Sasuke's name printed on the front, then turned and left. Tsunami shut the door and turned to see her son standing behind her with Shin walking down the stairs. "What was that all about, Mom?" "Oh, nothing, she just wanted me to give Sasuke something. I think I'll just go put it in his room." Naruto and Sasuke decided to go for a swim in the lake since it was a hot day. They had to be careful for Naruto was very far along now and one little fall could throw him into early labor. They stuck to the shallow water as much as possible. Naruto looked over at Sasuke. He rubbed his hands up and down his rather large belly, which was covered by an oversized t-shirt. "Won't be long now. Just a few more weeks and we will be parents." The dark-haired man cocked an eyebrow. "Nervous yet?" "Ha, I've been nervous since the moment I found out I was pregnant. I never had parents before so I don't know what to do. I'm just glad Tsunami is here to help us." Naruto waddled over to the other boy and sat down in front of him, right between the other's legs. He leaned back and rested against Sasuke's chest. Sasuke rested his chin on Naruto's shoulder. "Why do you wear a shirt? You know I love to see your belly." The blonde fidgeted. "But we are in public and Sai is running around here somewhere." His face turned slightly pink. "Come on, I'll warn you before he comes back." "Fine, but if you don't warn me you'll never see my stupid belly again, got it?" "Got it, now take off the stupid shirt." Sasuke didn't know why, but he loved seeing Naruto's oversized stomach. It fascinated him. He loved to feel the skin stretched tightly over the baby that was held within the other boy's body. He found it so beautiful to see the blonde like this. As the boys rested, neither noticed the person sitting several yards away in a tree watching them, studying them. Sasuke walked into his house after dropping Naruto off at Sai's. He hated leaving his dobi like that, but until this all blew over he had no choice. He had thought of moving both Naruto and Sai into the mansion, but that would just ruin his surprise for Naruto. He and the others had been working on it for some time and it was almost ready. As he rounded the corner into the living room he saw Inari and Shin sitting on the couch talking quietly to each other. They looked like a couple that had been together for years rather than mere months. "Hey, where's Tsunami?" Inari smiled up at the dark-haired Uchiha. "She went to bed early. She left you some dinner in the kitchen." "Oh, and that woman dropped something off for you. Mom put it in your room." Sasuke rolled his eyes. He knew what woman Inari was talking about. "Thank you." Naruto walked into the small apartment to see Sai already waiting for him. He knew the other kept a distance when he was with Sasuke, but always had to keep him within view since he was technically not allowed out without the other boy no matter who he was with at the time. "Naruto, could I speak with you for a moment?" "It won't take long." The blonde eyed the other suspiciously. "Okay, what is this about? Am I in trouble or something?" Sai put on his best, fake, smile. No, you are not in trouble. But I need to speak with you about Neji. I overheard him and Sakura talking the other day and she said something odd, something he did not deny doing." Naruto sat in the chair across from Sai. "And what is it he supposedly did?" Sai looked down for a moment, trying to gather his thoughts. "Naruto, did Neji rape you?" The blonde's face went pale and his widened. "I don't want to talk about this. I'm going to bed. Good night, Sai." He made to leave but was stopped at the door by a hand on his shoulder. "Why didn't you say anything? He should have been in jail for what he did. Does Sasuke even know?" Naruto started to shake slightly. He never wanted anyone to know. It was bad enough Kiba and them knew, but he could never tell Sasuke. No, Sasuke doesn't know and he never needs to. All he would do is try to kill Neji. He turned to face the other. Look, Neji never meant to do it. We were both drunk and there was a drug or something in our drinks. He really didn't know what he was doing and he never meant to hurt me, okay? So now can we drop the subject and never bring it up again? You cannot tell anyone, please. The pleading look in his eyes told Sai to drop the subject. Alright, I won't say anything. But, Naruto, if he ever tries anything again, promise me you will tell Sasuke and let him handle it any way he wants. Geez, I'm not some helpless woman. I may be pregnant right now, but I am still a ninja. I can take care of myself. But if anything were to happen I would tell Sasuke, okay? Happy now? Sai cocked his head to the side in confusion. Am I supposed to be? Naruto rolled his eyes. I'm going to bed. We have to be at the courtroom early. Good night. Sasuke could not sleep all night. The moment he opened the envelope Sakura had left for him, he had been thinking. Up until now all they did at Naruto's doctor appointments was check the baby to see if he or she was healthy. Naruto had said he wanted to wait until it was born to find out what it was. But neither had ever thought to ask for a copy of the ultrasounds. Sakura had given him an ultrasound picture of her baby, and even had the doctor show that it was a boy. He knew what she was trying to do. She thought if he saw that she was having a boy he might be more inclined to leave Naruto for her. Well, she can keep on wishing. He knew that baby wasn't his. No matter how much she wanted him to be Sasuke's son, he would never be so. He was not an Uchiha baby, he belonged to some other poor unfortunate soul. Tomorrow the council and the rest of the village would see that Naruto and Sasuke were the real parents of their baby. He hoped it would also get Sakura to back off and leave them alone for a while. Deep down he knew that would never happen, but he could dream, couldn't he? Tomorrow was going to be a long day of dealing with shit and stupidity, he just knew it. Naruto looked at himself in the mirror. It was still early, he had a few hours before the hearing with the council, but he was too nervous to sleep. He had intended on getting up and cooking breakfast, but as he walked past the bathroom he caught his reflection in the mirror. He couldn't wear his old clothes anymore because his stomach had gotten too big. Currently he was wearing an oversized t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants. He still couldn't see what Sasuke saw in him. In his own mind he had never really been the good-looking, and now with his big belly he thought himself downright ugly. With a soft sigh, he finished his trek to the kitchen to cook breakfast like he had planned. Sasuke was coming over to walk to the hearing with him and Sai, and he thought it would be nice for the three of them to eat breakfast together. Naruto had finished making breakfast just as Sai walked into the kitchen. Shortly after that Sasuke walked into the small apartment. So here they were, the three of them, silently eating together. Naruto couldn't understand the two of them. Neither ever really talked, even more so when they were around each other. So, how are Tsunami, Inari, and Shin doing? The blonde looked at Sasuke. The dark-haired boy looked up at his lover. They are fine, I guess. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. What the hell kind of answer is that? Sai looked up from his food. This wasn't good. An angry pregnant Naruto meant it was time to duck out. He wasn't scared or anything, but he had learned when Naruto get angry lately he could get louder than normal. To save his ears from pain, he decided to get ready for the day. Back in the kitchen Naruto and Sasuke stared after Sai. What do you think that was about? Naruto shrugged. I don't know. He's strange. Are you ready to go? The Uchiha looked at the blonde. Yes, I am ready. The others are going to meet us there. Don't worry so much Naruto. Everything will be fine. He bit his lip slightly. I'm just hoping this will get Sakura to back off. She's really starting to get ballsy with her affection towards you, Sasuke. I don't like it. She seems to be losing her mind. And whoever is the real father of her baby needs to know. Sasuke sighed. I know, trust me, I know. He stood up and cleared the table for Naruto. Let's just head out, it's going to be a long day and we don't have time to sit around doing nothing. The courtroom was once again packed with what seemed to be the whole village. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sai made their way over to where their friends were waiting. Ino stood up as the boys walked up. She hugged Naruto tightly. Oh, you're getting bigger. You must be close to popping by now. I'm so excited. Naruto laughed. Only a few more weeks and this baby will be ready to see the world. I'm excited, too. I'm ready to get my old body back. Ino opened her mouth but shut it quickly when she saw her old friend walk up. What do you want, Sakura? Everyone turned to see the pink-haired woman standing there. Sakura's eyes scanned the group before her. Everyone seemed to have sided with Naruto. How could the Rookie 9 not see what he really was? The only thing she could think of is that Naruto used the same jutsu on them as he did on Sasuke. Sasuke, did you get the ultrasound photo I gave you? The man in question shuddered slightly. No one but Naruto noticed it, though. Yes, I did. But don't you think you should give it to the real father, not me? Sakura dared to take a step closer to the dark-haired man only to be stopped by Ino stepping between them. You don't need to be that close to him to talk. Stay where you are and say what you have to, then leave. Sakura only smiled and walked away. She looked over her shoulder. We can talk privately once that thing is back in a cell for what he did to you. Don't worry, Sasuke, for once I'll save you. She then continued her walk over to where her family was sitting. Ino sighed. That girl is losing it. Oh well. Naruto. The blonde jumped at his name being shouted. I was wondering if you would mind us throwing you a little baby shower. Please? Naruto blinked. I guess not. Is that okay with you, Sasuke? Sasuke shrugged slightly. Whatever. The girls erupted into fits of giggles and excitement, making Sasuke wonder what they just got themselves into. Just then a door to the left opened and in walked the council. Everyone quieted and took their seats. The council looked over the room full of people, no doubt calculating how bad of an uproar it will turn into no matter which way this goes. Uzumaki, Naruto, please step forward. Naruto walked up to the front of the courtroom where the council sat at a judge's bench. Do you know why you are here today? The blonde sighed softly. In all honesty, I'm here because none of you believe that this child is mine and Sasuke's. You choose to believe the crazy ramblings of some nutcase who needs to be locked away. The councilman who spoke turned blood red with anger. You are here because of your crimes against Uchiha, Sasuke and Haruno, Sakura. Naruto's hands clenched into tight fists at his side. I honestly don't know what you think I've done to Sakura, but I would never hurt Sasuke. All of you are crazy for believing her. That's enough. Suande stood before the council. We are here for a reason, so get on with it. She then sat back down near her guests of honor. Though it was customary for the two of them to be at council meetings and such, no one really knew why they were there. Since they had stepped down from the council themselves, they usually stayed to the back of the room and were only there to see what was happening. Today, though, it seemed they had a purpose for being there. Naruto turned back to the council, whom stared at him with murder in their eyes. The head councilman stood with a large envelope in his hands. As is customary, no one has seen these results but the lab techs that ran the test. To be fair, one lab tech was chosen by the council and the other was chosen by the Hokage. Now, no matter what the results, I want order to stay intact. That means you demon child. Do not cause a scene. Naruto glared at the man. I won't make a scene. No matter what, I know the truth and so does Sasuke. The man smirked. We shall see about that. He picked up the envelope and opened it. He stared straight at Naruto as he pulled the papers out, a lopsided grin never leaving his face. He glanced down at the papers in his hands. In a heartbeat, his eyes went wide and the grin fell from his face. He looked up into Naruto's blue eyes. This can't be true. What did you do? Koharu Utatane stood from her seat next to the Hokage. Why don't you read the results and stop screaming, please? One glare from the old lady and the councilman did as he was told. With the frown on his face he read from the paper. In the case of the unborn child, it appears Uchiha, Sasuke is the father. Sakura's face was one of pure hatred. But surely Naruto isn't the mother, right? It has to be the demon. She did this. It's her child too. We need to kill it before she gets out. Koharu glared at the pink-haired girl. Will you stop that blubbering? Let the man talk. She turned back to the man behind the desk. Please read who the mother is. His face turned blood red. It appears Uzumaki, Naruto is the mother. Homura Mitokado stood next to his longtime friend and partner. There you have it. Now everyone can leave the two boys alone in peace. I believe we are done here. The council member stood. You no longer have the authority to decide when my courtroom is adjourned. We are done when I say so. Guards, arrest Uzumaki, Naruto and put him in a holding cell. Homura held his hands up. That will not be necessary. You have no grounds to prove he did anything wrong. We are through here. Never. There is still the case Sakura has against him. Arrest him. Koharu and Sasuke made their ways to the blonde. Koharu glared up at the pompous man. Just because she says he wronged her does not mean it is a court matter. And from what I can see, Sasuke has made his choice to be with Naruto and not her. It is her own fault she is with child by a man who clearly will never love her. This case you speak of is unjust. And for the record, we will always have more authority than you. We are the village elders and therefore far outrank you. Never pull that card again. Neji stepped forward. I have a confession to make. Sakura ran to his side. Don't you utter a fucking word, you coward. She hissed through clenched teeth. He glared daggers at the bitch. I will say what I want. You cannot hold anything over my head if I admit to it. He turned to the courtroom. I want to confess to the rape of one Uzumaki, Naruto, and aiding Sakura in her farce. He pulled a kunai from his pouch and with lightning speed jabbed it into Sakura's overgrown stomach. The courtroom gasped in shock. Everyone was shocked beyond belief. But they weren't shocked because of Neji's actions. No, they were shocked at what happened when he pulled the knife free. Instead of blood trickling out, a white powdery sustenance came pouring out. Flour, that's what came out. Flour. Sakura stared around the room at the shocked look on everyone's face. She had to find a way out of this. Maybe she could try the crying bit again. That always seemed to work before. Okay. I know this looks bad, but you have to understand. I couldn't let Sasuke be tricked into a relationship with someone whom he doesn't love. She began the crocodile tears for dramatic affect. I just know in my heart that I love Sasuke more than anything in this world, and I know he loves me just as much. I had to do something to keep that demon away from him. The room went dead silent. No one could believe what they had just heard. Sasuke stepped forward. What the fuck have you done? Do you realize the trouble you have caused for not only Naruto and me, but for the whole village? You stupid idiot girl, how could you be so selfish? Sakura's mother stepped forward. Now you wait just 1 minute there, young man. My daughter was only doing what she thought was best for you. Now that doesn't sound selfish to me. She's just trying to save you from a horrible fate. You should be thanking her, not yelling at her and calling her names. Tsunade stepped between the two. Mrs. Haruno, with all due respect, sit down and shut the fuck up. Your daughter has been nothing but a problem for Sasuke for years. He has made it clear since the day they met, that he wanted nothing to do with her. She has let her delusions get the better of her. She took it too far this time. I mean, really? What kind of sick, deprived woman fakes a pregnancy by strapping a sack of flour to her stomach? I'm sorry, but Sakura is going to have to answer for her heinous crimes. That sent the whole room into an uproar. Some were begging for Sakura's safety, while others cried for her incarceration. Everyone was picking a side and yelling for what they believed in. Only one noticed the shocked look on Naruto's face. Neji had been watching the blonde since he had ousted himself and Sakura. At first his face was one of pure horror, then drastically changed to worry, then finally settled on shock. Neji followed Naruto's eyes to the ground where a puddle was now at the boy's feet. Naruto's water had broke. He tried to get Sasuke's attention, but he was too busy trying to get past Tsunade so he could kill Sakura. Neji could see Naruto tugging softly on his fiance's sleeve. Finally Neji had had enough. He walked right up to Sasuke and punched him in the face. The room quieted down to stare at him in utter shock. Neji stared into Sasuke's eyes. You moron. Naruto's water just broke and he's been trying to get your attention to tell you. All eyes swung to the embarrassed blonde. He smiled nervously at Sasuke. It's time. Before he could finish his sentence, Sasuke had him in his arms and was racing to the hospital. Tsunade looked at two guards. Take Sakura into custody. She is to have no visitors whatsoever until I say so. Keep her locked in a high-security cell, got it? They both stepped to either side of Sakura. Yes, ma'am. She nodded. Good, now Neji, I want you to come with me. I'll be dealing with you myself. You are to stick close to me and not go anywhere. You try to run and I'll let your uncle deal with you, and I think you know how he will handle it. Neji swallowed hard. Oh, he knew his uncle wouldn't think twice before activating the seal on his forehead. I won't run, I promise. Good answer. Let's go, I have to be at the hospital. I'm the only one Naruto will trust to deliver his baby. Tsunade, don't forget our little deal, you promised. The blonde woman turned to see the elders looking at her expectantly. I won't forget my end of our little deal. I will take care of it. Then we shall handle things here. Go take care of the boy. As for the council members, we are going to assign a new council if it pleases you, Hokage. That's fine. Good luck. And with that the two walked away from the mayhem of the courtroom. Sasuke stopped pacing. We still have a while till the baby's ready to come out. Naruto had been watching the Uchiha pace for the last half hour. Where's Tsunade? She said she was going to get help, but that was 10 minutes ago. Where is she? The baby could come at any minute. The blonde rolled his eyes. Sasuke, I'm only 5 centimeters. I'm sure in the last 10 minutes I didn't gain the last 5 needed to push this kid out, so calm down. She will be back soon. Just then the door push opened to and in walked the Hokage and her assistant, Shizune. Alright Naruto, I'm going to check you again. She sat on the stool at the foot of Naruto's bed and lifted the sheet. Any more contractions since I left? A few. Why? It looks like you're at 8 centimeters. It won't be long now. She smiled at the nervous boys. It's a good thing Kyuubi was able to make a birth canal. Kit, I may have forgotten to tell you that all of this is permanent. Everything I did will be staying. The birth canal will close up until it's needed again. Naruto's face turned bright red with anger. You stupid furball, how did you manage that? It was a little difficult, but I just moved your cells and molecules around until they made a working uterus that your body wouldn't reject. Oh, that reminds me, since it's all permanent, it also means you're going to have a menstrual cycle like a female. Naruto shuddered with not only anger but another contraction. His jaw clenched in pain. I fucking hate you. Sasuke took Naruto's hand in his. Are you okay? The blonde snatched his hand away so he could cross his arms over his chest. Oh fucking dandy. The talking lint ball in my head says everything is stay right where it is. The new organ, the birth canal, all of it. And as a bonus I get a period like a girl. How would you be? Everyone backed off and left it at that. Neji sat between Gaara and Sai in the waiting room. He knew better than to anger anyone in this room. He was to sit quietly and not speak to a living soul. He was technically under arrest, and did not want to make things worse. He was sure Sakura's punishment would be far worse than his, but he wasn't looking for leniency. It may have taken Sakura telling him to know what really happened that night, and even if she had a hand in all the bad doing, he was still equally guilty and will take his punishment accordingly. That was smart of you to stand up for Naruto and Sasuke, though you probably should have done it sooner. Neji turned to see Sai staring at him intently. For the longest time I didn't know I had done something wrong. It's hard to see clearly your wrongdoings when you love someone. I thought Naruto would be happier with me. Everyone in the waiting room looked at him. Neji hardly ever spoke of his feelings. That night, you had to believe me that I never meant to hurt Naruto. He was just so drunk and rambling about Sasuke. Sasuke this and Sasuke that. Hearing it all made my heart hurt so bad I felt like it was going to break into a million pieces. I just wanted to be the one to make Naruto happy, but all I did was hurt him in the worst way. Tsunami dared to ask the question on everyone's mind. Why did you do it? Neji stared at the ground, almost as if in a trance. Apparently, Sakura put something in our drinks. I didn't know it until a few months ago. She said she put an aphrodisiac in mine and a muscle relaxer in Naruto's. I wasn't thinking straight after that drink. Everything went warm and fuzzy. I could barely make out anyone's face. All I knew was I wanted the heat to stop and only one solution came to mind. My head was so fuzzy, all I could hear was a buzzing sound. I never hear him stop. I swear I never meant to hurt him. Something warm and wet rolled down his cheeks. He lifted his hand to feel the tears that had somehow leaking out. He couldn't even remember the last time he cried. I should warn you, Sakura has 2 S-class Rouge Shinobi laying in wait somewhere. One word from her and they will take Naruto and his baby away from the village. Gaara's eyes narrowed. They won't get that close, trust me, I'll kill them first. Tsunade looked up at the 2 boys before her. Both so young, so in love and so ready to be parents. I'm going to check you again, Naruto. The blonde boy only nodded as waves of pain crashed through his entire body. Great news. You're ready to push. Now I know we haven't talked about this because we didn't think you could, but when you feel another contraction hit I need you to push as hard as you can. This may still take a while but push as much as you can, okay? Another nod was her answer. She watched as Sasuke gripped Naruto's hand as the blonde pushed with all his might. Alright, I see the head, and of course your baby has dark hair. Okay, take a deep breath. That's it, now push again. Naruto's face turned red as he pushed as hard as he could. Good, the shoulders are out. Now take one last breath then push as hard as you can and you'll have your baby. Naruto stilled his nerves with a big breath in and bore down as much as he could to force his child into the world. He didn't scream or cuss, he only focused on pushing, hoping he still have enough energy to do what he had to. With one last gusto of strength he pushed harder than before, and with a slosh of fluids his baby was finally in the world, screaming with the most powerful lungs any of them had heard before. He slumped against the pillows and rested for a moment. He felt Sasuke release his hand and he looked up to see Tsunade laying the baby clad in a blue blanket in his soon-to-be husband's arms. He watched as Sasuke stared at the infant in his arms. He could see tears start to roll down the paled man's face. Sasuke looked at Naruto with such love and adoration. "Would you like to hold our son, Naruto?" The tired blonde held out his arms. Sasuke gently put the baby down for his lover to hold. "Sasuke, he's beautiful. I can't believe he's finally here." Naruto looked up at Sasuke. "What are we going to name him? We can think of something later. Right now they need to clean him up and check him over. And you need to rest." Naruto looked at his son. "I don't want to put him down." Sasuke smiled softly. "I know, but once you wake up you can have him back. In the meantime you sleep, and once Hokage-sama is done with him I'll show him off to the others." The blonde yawned. "Fine, I'll sleep."
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.